welcome everyone back to Nerd TV for the Full Throttle Sim Racing race number 6 of 13 for the 2023 Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. This time we're coming at you live from the simulated Circuit of the Americas, where this 20-turn behemoth of a track. We'll see the FTSR guys go at it. Got 27 currently in the server. And if you were here this last Wednesday, that Talon Smith guy, well, he's doing the same thing. He's almost 2 seconds faster than second place, and everybody else on back is really tight niched. But one guy early standing out is that 18 car. But weather on the track, about the same. 100 degrees on the surface, 70 in the skies, so 30 degrees separation there. That will kind of tame down as this run does go on for 44 laps here. Intros, my name is Jeremy, and then to my right hand side again, Jason Rockefeller. How's it going, dude?
Good, man. I'm ready to see maybe, just maybe, Talon Smith dominate here tonight, just like he did last Wednesday in the Martin Sports Truck Series. This is going to be a very interesting race tonight. Going to be probably a much different race than the trucks, obviously. A, way less downforce, and B, way more horsepower, and C, way less grip. So tonight's probably going to be a lot different race than what you saw last Wednesday night. So, I mean, Talon Smith, we're taking a look at him right now. Already fastest on the racetrack right now. Best lap, 2:11.40. His last time around, 2:12.06. Now, mind the fact, too, Richie Coy, who was a contender on Wednesday night, his fastest lap is only a 2:13.04. That's a second and a half, Jeremy, slower than who's right now the fastest in practice. That's Talon Smith, who was your winner on Wednesday. And we talked to him, too, after the race on Wednesday from Nerditude's Victory Lane. And he just said, hey, I'm here to prove these guys wrong. Last week at Atlanta, made a really bad block late in the race, took out a bunch of good cars, and he wants to try to double down this week here at Circuit of the Americas and show these guys what he's made of, especially on these road courses.
Well, the road courses is definitely his strong suit. Clearly, how he's performing in the trucks and in the Cup Series. Yeah, he's got some work to do, gain that respect back. I know we got 2 months left in this thing before the season A is over, so he's got the time to do it. If he can just perform dominantly, keep the fenders clean, don't hit anybody, I think you'll get there. It's just, you kind of step or press the wrong buttons when you come in here as your rookie season at FTSR and do something like that. So understandable. His mission the rest of the season is to make that happen, make the wrong good. And, he's going to get there. He's going to get there. Just got a little bit of rougher road than some of these other guys that are out here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And like I just said, he wants to prove these guys, that he belongs. We talked about it after the race last week from the Martin Sports Truck Series ending last week from here at COTA. And here he is. He's trying to go back to back. Like I said, pull the sweep, if you could say here. I know it's kind of odd that last week the trucks, they were here, and now this week the Cup cars are here, and then obviously the Cup cars will go over where the trucks go on Wednesday night. So, but if Talon Smith wants to try to win this race tonight, Jeremy, he's got to be lights out just like he was this past Wednesday for sure. And we were just joking about it, too, before the broadcast. It's going to probably take somebody more than likely either spinning Talon Smith out maybe or him completely junking the car to pretty much win this race, because the only competition I could see Talon Smith having tonight is probably going to be Richie Coy and last year's Truck Series winner here, I believe Steven Allen in that number 14. But like we talked about, Jeremy, these guys are a second and a half to 2 seconds slower than Talon. He's so good on these road courses from what we've could tell so far, especially in that rookie season here. For the Mach-1 series, for Full Throttle Sim Racing and stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do tonight, how his craft is going to be. I assure you it's probably going to be the same, but like I said, a lot different race, less grip, less downforce, higher horsepower. You're going to have to treat this race a lot differently than what you did on Wednesday.
Yeah, and Richie Coy also, he won here last year in the Cup Series at COTA, the only time they showed up here. And Richie won by 4 seconds over Ryan Hendrick, and then it was basically a whole lap behind those guys before, third, fourth, fifth place came about. So Richie had a very similar experience to what Talon did this past Wednesday last year here in the Cup Series. So will we see a repeat? That's time for tell. Richie's got a lot of time to make up, though he's currently second, 4 tenths off a third, but then he's almost 2 seconds entirely behind Talon Smith, which I don't know how you get that car to go that fast. I know it's open setups. These guys are working on it. The setup group that Talon Smith is working with, they provide an excellent setup apparently, and he just drives it. It kind of reminds me of back about 5 or 10 years ago in the Xfinity series, where you joke around saying like even a monkey could drive one of the Joe Gibbs Xfinity cars and win the race. It was just that easy to drive, and that's what Talon Smith is making it look like out here on the road course, especially at Circuit of the Americas. We're going to stay on board with the 18, Jason. We're going to see exactly how he gets around this track here as he's going to go out for his opening lap. I was paying attention to his S's, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up to the top of the hill. Very smooth on the throttle, very smooth on the wheel especially. There's not much yanking on it. It's just nice casual left to right, left to right. This guy has it done really good through this section.
Yeah, I mean, right now, he's just going to take it easy. You can see him right now. Obviously, you don't want to go full throttle with these tires being so cold. I promise you, though, he's going to be going a lot faster next time around. And obviously, this is just his warm-up lap. When he's going to be coming to the green, he's going to be full head of steam off turn number 20 here as we take a good gyro look inside of his race car from basically, right there. I believe I forget what part of the windshield that's called. I know it was there to prevent things from getting through the windshield and stuff like that, and also the Earnhardt bar, and as Dustin says in my ear, thank you, Dustin. But yeah, I mean, it was there to prevent a lot of crushing and stuff like that on the windshield and stuff like that. But nice cams we got going here tonight. But this is going to be the trickiest part, I promise you, besides turn 1 tonight. You're going to see a lot of guys, especially with this car being more dominant on road courses. He's pretty much almost all the way out in the grass, using every piece of rumble strip there. Heading into turn number 12, that's the fastest part of the racetrack and the fastest downshifting part you will have to be in. So be aware that there's going to be a lot of guys locking it up down there tonight. And this is another tricky spot right here. Heading into turns 15 and 16, a very awkward type of corner, set of corners, I guess you could say, sector, whatever road course analogy or terminology that you want to use, and then the sweeping corners of 17 and 18 all the way to turns 19, which will lead you to the final corner, that sharp, like 90-degree, like left-hander, and turn number 20, and then up the hill to turn 1. But Jeremy, we're going to have to see what Talon Smith does and what kind of throttle response he has right here, and he's getting ready to put a money lap down.
Turns 14, 15, and 16, you described it awkward. That also matches me and my personality. So that is no doubt why that's my favorite part of the track. I love it. I call it the stadium corner because you have the nice little section of grandstands right there facing toward those three corners in particular. It's just a really cool section, unique to any other thing out there. Definitely in the NASCAR circuit, but most other tracks in general, how it just kind of like opens up and then really tight left-hander to get through it. But you see him on his opening lap here through 4, 5, 6, and 7. Just super clean, consistent. You don't see any jerking of the wheel. The car just casually rolls onto the suspension. So that means he's driving it with ease, which is surprising. If you're almost 2 seconds faster than the guy behind you, and you're taking it that easy around the track, that just really speaks to how that setup is performing here for Talon Smith as he heads back downhill towards turn number 11, one of the main passing points at this track. It really opens up wide here just like turn 1 does, and then just really funnels down tightly to that tight left-hander. Then the longest straightaway, I think, on the NASCAR circuit, this really long stretch between 11 and 12. You might as well call it the back stretch as he heads off to 12.
Yeah, and Pocono used to be the longest straightaway in NASCAR, that front stretch. And I will tell you, as somebody here who lives up in the Northeast, Pocono is a very, very wide, long front stretch. You feel like that straightaway there could just last forever, and you look like you're looking into an absolute brink on the horizon in a sense, if that's the right form of words to use. But yeah, I mean, now that is the longest straightaway in NASCAR. Obviously, from turn 11 to 12, that straightaway, like we talked about, it's going to be super hectic. You have where turn 11 goes from being so narrow, and then right when you hit that apex in 11, it starts to widen out. You're going to see a lot of guys maybe try, like you said, Jeremy, you're going to see a lot of guys take a lot of opportunities to try and pass other drivers. But be aware, you're going to see a lot of mistakes there. A lot of drivers tend to lock it up right there and stuff like that. And also going into turn number 12, like I said, going from the fastest part of the racetrack all the way down to one of the slowest left-handers here on the course, as Talon Smith does go up to the board. And Jeremy, that was the fastest lap of the race session, I believe, right there. He ran a 2:11.60 with Troy Torgerson right now in the number 39 machine. He's second on the board with a 2:13.38. So that just goes to show you how fast Talon Smith is here tonight. And I'm pretty sure he is using a Mach-1 setup shop setup, because he did talk about him on Wednesday about him using those setups. So it wouldn't shock me if Talon does have the Mach-1 setup in that car tonight.
Well, the logo's definitely on his hood, so I mean, no other place I think he's going to be powering that machine tonight. It's you can't miss the car, but you're probably going to miss him on the broadcast. He's going to be so far ahead. It seems to be that we're probably going to be focusing on second place on back. Another one of the guys that we're going to focus on too, not to take away from the 18-second lap here, but Chris Curtis. We got him on the chat with Robert Curtis, saying this is his track house style of race. If I can correct myself, this track is your wheelhouse. Let's get her done. That's what he actually said there in the chat. I should not paraphrase. But so Chris Curtis looks like he's going to be one of the guys to look out for. Currently residing in 5th place here, as we got 12 laps currently put down on the boards. Talon Smith, we're watching. Oh, we got the 15 on your camera here. That's going to be Nicholas Moreau as Dustin, our producer. By the way, shout out to Dustin. I never bring him into the very beginning. I always introduce my partner, my co-host here, but I never introduced my producer. So Dustin, good shout out given to you. I know you work hard behind the scenes. We don't forget about you, I promise you. But he calls Nicholas Moreau Rocket Man Moreau because how fast he is in qualifying. I just don't think he has anything for Talon Smith as well.
Yeah, Jeremy, definitely not going to have anything. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Nick does probably come inside the top 3, because right now, I mean, obviously, he is third up on the board with a 2:14.15. Obviously, drastically slower than Talon Smith. And you know what the funny thing is, too, Jeremy? We talked about the lack of downforce, too. You could just see going through those S's, how, oh my gosh, as the 15 gets super loose right there. I looked away for a second. Next thing you know, he was losing it there through the stadium section, you call. But man, Nicholas Moreau right now, as he drops down to actually 5th, Richie Coy and Ryan Hedrick have actually jumped up to the 3rd and 4th spots, respectively, here in qualifying, both with a 2:13 and a 2:14. But yeah, I just don't really see anybody really challenging Talon Smith here. We know that Nicholas Moreau is a very, very fast qualifier. He's gonna have to try to really, do something, because if I am correct, I don't believe he did all that well last week. I think he got wrecked earlier on at Atlanta, and then obviously what happened to him back at Phoenix, getting involved in that late race yellow, and obviously, just controversy, late race racing, it happens, man. He wants to try to obviously redeem himself again here tonight after a streak of bad luck recently here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely here. Couple guys put out some good times. Richie Coy, 2:13.3. Troy Torgerson, you already mentioned him, 13.1. Still, not in the 11-second bracket like Talon is, but that's some really strong speeds there from the 39, 19, and 42. On the chats, we got Coaster Fan Leo saying, let's go Smith and Stubbs. Rooting for them always for Omnia Motorsports. And then over on the Facebook chats, Matt Quiche, Mr. Quiche, he says, yo. I say, yo, back to you, my guy. But we got 14 guys only taking laps so far. We are a minute and 20 left out of this 10-minute qualifying session. So over basically half the field has not put down a time as the 15th car does. Goes all the way back to 2 minutes, 18 seconds, that by Sherwood Williford. So a lot of guys taking it conservative, Jason. It looks like they're going to start in the back and maybe watch the Turn 1 mayhem. If you watched the real race yesterday, it was complete chaos toward the end through Turn 1. 5 wide minimum was required. So will we see something like that tonight, or are we going to see a pretty conservative up the hill?
Well, I don't believe so, Jeremy. I mean, we didn't really have any trouble going into Turn 1 for the Truck Series. The Martin Sports Truck Series last week. I really wouldn't expect much here tonight. I mean, you very well could, though, because obviously you could get on the brakes a lot later, a lot harder in these Cup cars compared to the trucks. Obviously, the more speed, more horsepower, so that could lead to some issues, and obviously a lot of potential for and I mean a lot of lockups going through those really sharp corners where you're carrying a lot of speed and downshifting hard into the braking zone. That could cause for some controversy. I wouldn't be surprised if Talon Smith has something happen to him, but I tell you what, man, I really do think, Jeremy, if anybody's going to beat him here tonight, I think somebody's going to, I hate to say this, I think somebody's going to either have to turn him or he's going to have to junk it in this first lap, probably.
I think he's gonna have to beat himself personally. He's gonna have to mess up somewhere on one of these corners and really put himself in a bad predicament. But qualifying is over. We're gonna love to get over to this race starting grid for you. Of course, we've already talked about them all qualifying. Talon Smith is going to be starting in P1. Troy Torgerson is going to start in second. Richie Coy going to start in third place. Kyle Milliken to his outside starting in fourth. Fifth place, Ryan Hedrick. Sixth place, Rocket Man Moreau. Seventh place, Tony Solari. Eighth place, Chris Curtis. Ninth, Ryan Chapman. And to round out the top 10, Brian Dublé.
Yeah, and then to round out your top 20, Jeremy, you got Brian Bliss there in the number 3 machine. He'll start 11th. Colton Gum there in the number 10. He'll start in the 12th spot. Wayne Grossi, 13th. Joshua Johnson, 14th. The next row, you got Sherwood Williford, a driver who's been pretty solid here these last few weeks. He'll start 15th. And James Wallace looking for a good run after Phoenix a few weeks ago. Stephen Allen, Truck Series winner last year in 17th. Jeff Chandler, 18th in the round out, the top 20. Steve Loomis in the number 17, starting 19th. And Chad Lang in the number 4 from Canada in 20th.
Brody Hanna starting in 21st. Brandon Elder is going to start in 22nd. 23rd belongs to Josh Mayu. 24th, Alan Crowell. 25th, Robert Milliken. 26th, Casey McMullen. 27th, James Torrey. 28th, Timothy Stubblefield. And the smallest field of the season, 29 cars. That's impressive to say all by itself. But Justin Diltz is going to be starting in his own row there in 29th to round out the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series starting grid order here for the Circuit of the Americas. I'm going to go back to what I was saying before the grid. Talon Smith, you say someone's going to have to maybe knock him in the fender. I think he's going to have to do something himself. There is no stage break. We got fooled this past Wednesday thinking there was one, but there wasn't, and confirmed there's not going to be one tonight. So I think the 18's going to have to cause an issue by himself or on pit road, somewhere where maybe a lap car, maybe something like that will happen. You know, we saw some lap cars this past Wednesday. They were, and actually, you know what? We have the 23 and the 18 both not going, Jason. So this is strange.
Yeah, this is strange, and it's not. Yeah, I think they took E.L. Wells. I think that's what I'm hearing right now, and this is gonna make it an interesting race. Yeah, they're gonna have E.O. Wells. Wow. So this changes the complexion of this race a ton. Now, obviously, Talon, he knows he's fast enough. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get towards the front. But, Jeremy, I talked about it, and I was going to say it just a little bit ago. Track position is key, my man. I mean, if you're fast like Talon Smith, I'm sure you could probably blow through the field just like A.J. Allmendinger did in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series back on Saturday and Sunday. So I think if you want to consider an A.J. Allmendinger type driver out here, you might want to take Talon Smith as that driver to be here this afternoon or evening from Circuit of the Americas. But this is going to be interesting, Jeremy. He's going to have to maintain himself through this traffic, get around them cleanly. He's going to have to learn how to give and take, obviously 44 laps. You know, oh my gosh, 3.426 miles. This is going to be a super long race. You know, laps averaging around like 2 minutes and 12 seconds. You do that times 44. That's going to be a long race. So Talon's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back towards the front and take home another Circuit of the Americas victory here tonight.
I was trying to find the rule book or something that why the 23 and the 18 decided to not start up in their starting positions, and there was no penalties, there was no nothing. So I honestly am not too sure, but we are going green flag right here as they head up the hill here. Looks like one car is already going to start. You know, it looks like he's going to drop to the back. He's not going to press the issue there, but they're really fanned out here going up the hill. Richie Coy really drives it in deep right in front of Troy Torgerson, takes the lead, gets the run down the hill, and I think that little move right there is going to work for him.
Yeah, that was interesting there, man. I really thought Richie Coy was going to take himself out and also Troy Torgerson, but they were able to get through turns 1 and 2 cleanly. Now they head through the S's, one of the trickiest parts. Can't really go side by side here, Jeremy, as everybody starts to single file out. But here comes Richie Coy. He was fast last Wednesday, and here he is on Monday. So far, so good for him as we're taking a look at the Nerd TV replay. We're seeing the 17 few drivers coming out of pit road here initially on the start of the race.
Yeah, that's them starting in pit road, essentially. They did not want to be a part of the turn 1 potential chaos there. They took it easy. They're going to reside in the back. I also want to make a quick mention. All that talk we talked about, Talon Smith, erased that. He is disconnected manually from the server. So Talon Smith will not be a part of this race. It does not look like, at least the beginning half, it will not compete for tonight's victory. So huge change up here. This is going to bring every other person into the picture. A lot of these guys are running 213s, 214s. So this race just got a lot closer for the win tonight.
I'm kind of questioning as to why he left. I don't know if maybe some dispute between the league owners. I don't know. I mean, when you know that you're going to be that fast and you qualify more than 1.5 to 2 seconds faster than the entire field, and the fact that you just won last Wednesday night in a truck, and you come up and show up here tonight in this cup car and are faster than what you were on Wednesday, I just don't understand. So maybe we're going to have to get some clarification. Maybe he had something, obviously emergencies do exist, unfortunately, and stuff. I hope all the best for Talon. Hopefully nothing's wrong. But definitely an odd circumstance if we just go off the fact maybe that he did have some issue maybe with the league owners or possibly just the connection issue, simply because it does happen from time to time. So this actually, like you said, Jeremy, this opens up the door for every single one of these drivers who was pretty much here on Wednesday. And Richie Coy obviously already showing the way over Troy Torgerson. But remember, Jeremy, Richie was pretty good on the short runs, and then towards the end of the long runs, started to fade away on Wednesday. And obviously with less grip here tonight, tire fall off might be a little bit more of a factor. So Richie's going to definitely have to keep the tires on it here tonight if he wants to try to win.
Yeah, we'll see how he works it this time around. But last year he did win this race by a large margin, so he knows how to get it done here at Circuit of the Americas. And right now, only a lap and a half in, he's on his way to maybe reproducing that win and knocking out 2 for 2 at Circuit of the Americas for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. But really clean start, other than Richie making a little dive bomb move, so to speak, into turn 1, takes the lead early. Everybody else is really spaced out, all single file, all the way back through the field. Very likely that Full Throttle Sim Racing, you are to see this. You guys are very respectable and know how to play the patient game, especially at a road course. It is not racing your opponents, it's racing the track and racing yourself with the... it looks like we had a penalty in my ear. Dustin is telling me that the Talon Smith had a penalty from Wednesday, to which I do not know. And we'll have to look further into that. But, our last cup race, I'm sorry, Atlanta. I guess the penalty was for the block, Jason. So the block put him at a penalty, and that's probably why he backed out.
Wow. Well, that's probably it. And I guarantee you they weren't going to tell him, man, I'm not gonna lie, Jeremy. I'm kind of speechless. I came in here tonight thinking that Talon Smith was gonna run away with this race. I'm pretty sure all of us did. Me, you, me, you, Dustin too. I thought, man, it's shocking to see that. Like we said, you come in here tonight, you're faster than what you were Wednesday, and obviously due to his actions for that late block on Richie Coy last week from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which for the folks watching last week. Late in the stages, the 18 decided to throw a very late block on Richie Coy and caused a massive melee going into turn 1. Took out a lot of good cars, primarily everybody up at the front who was strong all day. And not only that, but ultimately took out himself, and he was the most dominant car that race. So, I'm just baffled by everything. I don't know if maybe they did decide to, park him for this race. But if that's not the case, he probably was just so frustrated by having to serve that penalty that he just said, hey, man, screw it. I'm done. I'm not doing this tonight.
And most likely the case. And you see on your screen here, that's Robert Malek in there in the 22. he went wide in turn 12, and then he was really slow to get back going onto the pace, and looks like he went down pit road and had an issue there. So currently sitting in pit road. I don't know what the issue is with Robert Malikin, but he's going to drop back to 27th currently. Last car on the track, last place there. So right now we're watching. Looks like a nice little battle here between Tony Slaughter, the 11. Looks like Nicholas Moreau there in the 15. As they're headed up to turn number 12 here, and also the 47. No, not 47. I apologize. 42. Kyle Milliken. Pretty good battle here.
Oh, and
Speaking of which,
spins.
here we go. Here we go. A little contact there. I don't think there's going to be no harm, no foul. It's not the actual next-gen car, so... Oh,
he spins again.
Yeah.
Man, he's losing it. He's losing it, Jeremy. That was a perfect example as we take it on board. Great shots from Dustin here tonight, catching all the action. You see him right there. Just locks it up, and honestly, Jeremy, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe he downshifted a little too early. We know, and obviously, even with the old Gen 6 cars, these new Gen 7 stock cars, they tend to kind of get really loose if you downshift a little too early. But that right there looks like a little bit of brake locked up mix-up, or brake lockup mixed with some maybe early downshifting, and honestly does the same. Just does the same thing right here. Could have been a little bit of throttle time too. I mean, could have got back on it, but man, I mean, obviously no harm, no foul. He's still 7th, obviously, because this is a 3.4-mile road course. But that's detrimental to his race. Obviously, being a 3.4-mile road course. See the 98 of Chris Curtis there almost goes wide into turn number 1. But those two incidents by Kyle Milliken, that could cost him a top 5, a top 3, a top 10 at the end of this race, depending on pit strategy, depending on who's faster, the fall-off time, and so be it. That's why with these road courses, Jeremy, you got to be on it, absolutely on it the entire race. You got to keep your head in the game. You can't be looking anywhere else except in front of you and matching your revs, matching the shifts, the braking points. You do not want a mistake here tonight, because one little mistake can cost you 10. It could cost you 10 spots as well.
Yeah, and he's got a long run to go before we see the first green flag pit stop. So those tires are hot right now. They are slick. He's really got to take it easy this next few laps to cool down the tires to where they are optimally supposed to be. Back to the 22, Robert Malikin has backed out of the session. I guess the car has too many issues or something wrong with the PC. Either way, the 22 is out of the race. That's going to leave 26 remaining. A couple drop out early. But, you know, sometimes it happens. A pretty good battle here. Looks like 15th, 14th place. We're seeing the 23 Brody Hanna trying to go to the inside here of Joshua Johnson of the 57. It gets pretty crowded here through turn 12. 57, Joshua locks up the left front tire slightly enough to cause some smoke there. This single file back going through 13 and 14.
Yeah, the 23 gives the 57 a little bit of a bumper right there going through the stadium section. Here we go. He's going to try to optimize his position. Got to be easy. Nice crossover there from the 57. He's going to run him a little bit wide, make him use up all that racetrack there as he heads into turn 17. But now that car right there on the inside, he's got the advantage over the number 57 of Joshua Johnson. And Brody Hanna is going to take that position away from Johnson there. That was really interesting. Those guys almost took one another out right there with just a matter of a few turns.
Yeah, Brody Hanna tried to make an aggressive move there, and the 10 right in front of him, Colton Gum, he was slow in that corner entrance. So the 23 had to turn to the right, really extend turn 16 out, and the 57 almost able to get it back from him. I'm kind of curious, too. This is not an official race. It's a league race, right? So the X's don't count your incident points. So I saw a lot of the guys in the Cup Series yesterday running, well into the red part of the curbing, maximizing and minimizing where they can to save tires and to run the best time possible. So, I mean, you could run these corners wide as long as it benefits your car. There's no other restrictions from you not doing so. So, maybe these guys will learn something by extending the track out a little bit further here tonight and make some gains.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if late in the going you're going to see these guys slipping and sliding. They're going to be trying to use up every piece of real estate that they can. So it's going to be interesting to say the least, no doubt about it. Right now, we got a nice little battle brewing up. Brian Bliss, Colton Gum. As Gum looks down to the inside, got an easy locking it up, and he's got it. He's going to make contact with the 3 almost there. Oh, man, it was close. I don't know if there was contact, but it sure enough was close there. Heading through turn 11, a.k.a. basically like the hairpin, but obviously you go from a downhill part all the way to a hard braking zone. Like I talked about, Jeremy, turns 11 and 12 are going to be 2 of the hardest places here tonight for these drivers, so you gotta watch out as the 10 locks up again right there. Oh my goodness, man. Colton Gum's gotta be taking it easy. He's gotta understand too, you're only 5 laps into this race. You got a lot of track in front of you. You got a lot of drivers all spread out. Don't take yourself out too early, man. You gotta be easy getting into the braking zones. You don't want to lock it up because remember, you gotta deal with these tires for a significant amount of laps, and it's not like you're getting a caution. As we take a look here, at Richie Coy, who's dropped all the way back to 4th. Oh, and he turned himself around there. Wow. Last year's winner here turns himself around, drops all the way back to 4th. But we talked about it, Jeremy. One little mistake can cost you your whole race. And now he's 6.5, almost 7 seconds back from your new race leader, Troy Torgerson.
It's a huge loss there from the 19 camp, as now he's got to recover and also keep those tires in check for the next lap or 2 to get them thing cooled off as well. But I love what the 3 did that last lap. Oh, we see the 57, Joshua Johnson, getting loose again. Cuts the grass off a little bit there. So a lot of guys, there is not, you mentioned more grip on the track. I think there's a lack of grip here. It's just, I don't know if it's just too hot or if the setups are a little too aggressive, but we're seeing a lot of different issues here from a lot of teams. But I was going to go back to what Brian Bliss did through turn 11 as Colton Gum and him almost made contact. I love what the 3 did. He knew the 10 was low. He was going to try to shortcut the corner entrance. So the 3 went really wide into turn 11 and really just swooped that corner up. Didn't make that sharp apex and got a hell of a drive off the corner. But the 10 was just aggressive getting back into the corner. So I think that was a good call there by the 3 to minimize any type of issue. And now Richie Coy, though, focuses on him. He needs to get back up to that front where he was.
Yeah, here's the replay right here. Nice job to the 3, though. He saw it, though. He saw that 10 coming. He could have kept on going lower, but that's heads-up driving by Brian Bliss. That's a race moment right there that could obviously, like I talked about earlier, could have been very detrimental to his race outcome, but just because he gave Colton Gum a little bit more room than probably he should have, but obviously that could have taken out not only the 10, but could have taken out the 3 as well. So heads-up driving as we ride on board. Right there, that's the number 41 machine. Here he comes, coming to the corner. Big lockup by Alan Crowell there into turn 11. Still a lot of lockups, Jeremy, here early on. That's not surprising me at all, though.
Yeah, the trucks, we didn't see as much of this, but these guys in the Cup Series are just trying to maximize their efforts here. Some of these guys, maybe they got too comfortable running the 37 laps in the Martin Sports Truck Series, and coming out here and trying to get a little bit more out of their equipment. And, they're just paying the price here. A bunch of lockups, a couple spin outs, really using and abusing these tires as we're only 7 laps into this 44-lap race. I don't know what the fuel strategy looks like for these guys. I don't know if they're going to pit once or twice, but either way, it's pretty aggressive early on.
Yeah, to say the least, definitely very aggressive early on. But I tell you what, you know who's being really, really aggressive right now? Richie Coy, all the way still in 4th. But that last time around, Jeremy, 2:13.38, fastest lap of the race so far. Was only faster than Nicholas Moreau, though, by only a few hundredths of a second. And now Moreau is currently looking for second on Ryan Hendricks. Been kind of reeling him in here these last couple laps. And Rocketman Moreau, he's trying to be just like his name, trying to be a rocket here as he closes in on the back bumper of the 47. You're going to see him heads up driving by him to not run into the back of the 47. You're going to see a lot of guys probably do that later on in the race, especially when the tires are worn. But this is going to be a very big opportunity for Nicholas Moreau to close the gap a lot here down the straightaway, especially having this draft wake, and then heading into turn 12 might be able to try to outbreak him here, but we'll have to see.
As we go through turn 12, nice and clean here. I think this is a great time. We're actually going to continue to focus on this action as we go picture-in-picture mode for a few commercials, so be back with you guys shortly. And back to full screen action here, and we did not leave this group of cars this entire time. We're watching Richie Coy work his way back up through the field after that pit stop, or spin out rather. You had mentioned, Jason, that he was 6.7 seconds back. This man's only 4.1 seconds back now, so he's almost made up, you know, over a third for sure, but almost half the ground here. And after he gets around the 15, he has the eye set on that 39 Troy Torgerson because that was his race. I mentioned about Talon Smith maybe losing the race on his own, but this might be the case of Richie Coy trying to do that to himself. I know he doesn't want to do that, but I mean, at least he did it early, right? He's still got 33 laps to recoup that up, so don't count him out just yet. He's making some gains right now.
Yeah, he's definitely making some gains here on the number 15, which is funny because Nicholas Morel, we call him Rocket Man. Oh, he's going to let the 19 go by. Interesting. Man, I tell you what, I don't really think, Jeremy, right there, that Richie Coy was going to lock it up. The 15 just kind of handed Richie Coy that position. And by the way, out of those top 4 guys who've been battling here these last couple laps, Richie Coy was the fastest on the racetrack. He ran at 2:14.99. So Richie Coy definitely is making some headway towards the front, but like you talked about, better to have that happen early on than later in the race. But he's definitely got to recuperate his thoughts, his driving style, his craft, and make sure he doesn't make a mistake like that towards the end. But I wouldn't be surprised if Richie Coy here in the next few laps reels in Troy Torgerson because he has been faster than him by about half a second a lap here these handful of laps. So Richie Coy coming to the front in a hurry.
And back up to second place and moving quick. Yeah, I think the 15 in turn 11, I think he saw the 19 and Richie just driving a little bit deeper. And he's like, man, I know this guy's faster. The 15 almost looked like he wanted to make the bottom apex there in 11, and then turned his wheel to the right saying, hey, I'm just going to give it up because this guy is wanting it. And he's really fast, by the way. So you let him have it. Second place now belongs to him. He's already got about 5 car lengths or 6 car lengths on the 15. As the 39 and the 19 out on the same straightaway here. 39 making the corner up at the top. I did notice too, I don't know if it's just from my angles here, but you see Richie lock it up again. These guys are making that corner a lot sharper on the top of the hill. I don't see a lot of guys extending it out, making it a more of a smooth corner. They're just hitting the apex a little sharp. They're still getting good launch off the corner exit, but you know, if I was trying to plan a long run, I would think I'd be extending that corner out a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy, definitely for sure, because, I mean, just think to yourself, the tighter you make your corners, the more tire wear you're going to put on those front set of tires, and you really don't want to do that, especially late in the run. And you can already see tire wear is starting to play a big factor. Troy Torgerson there through the corner before he got to turn 11 was super loose. I believe that was turn number 9. That could have been very bad for him. Obviously, yesterday in the Cup race, that was the spot where everybody was losing it. Dirt was kicked up onto the racetrack, obviously due to iRacing, you know, not being obviously as realistic as real life. You cannot kick dirt up on the racetrack, which I think that would definitely be something interesting. Like I know the Formula One games do that with gravel and dirt, and they get on the tires and stuff like that. So that would be cool to see something. But back to the main point, though, you know, Troy Torgerson doing a really good job. Tire wear, though, being a factor, obviously. I really don't understand why some of these guys aren't making it a little bit wider of an arc, because like I said, you don't want to cut those corners too sharp, because the sharper you make those corners, the more you have to turn. Obviously, the more rubber you're going to shred off of those Goodyear Eagles. So if I were Troy Torgerson, Richie Coy, I'd definitely start making some wider arcs going into turn 1 for sure, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know you can get into the gravel, and then the gravel and whatnot will stick to the tire for just a short period. But it does fall off kind of quick. It does take away some of your traction too, but yeah, you're not going to see cautions thrown for sand or dirt picked up onto the track. It's just not going to happen. That would be cool one time, maybe once they get the weather update with the rain, which I have seen some updates on that on their official Twitters and whatnot. Rain could be coming, and so we got to put some windshield wipers on these Cup cars virtually to, you know, be prepared. Please, for love of everything, don't put the mud flaps on here. I'm okay with the windshield wiper blade. Just leave the mud flaps off. Going back to the chats real quick, Lucina Leon, if I pronounced that correctly, said, let's go Gum Heart with some checker flags. That'd be Mr. Colton Gum in the number 10, currently running in 16th place, all by his lonesome in that Toyota Camry. No one around him at all, just clocking some laps at this point. He was around some guys earlier, but right now just doing his own thing at 16th, having a clean race for that team. But yeah, now back to what I was saying with the weather and whatnot. It would be cool to see some dirt kick up, but that's like a minor thing in the sim. But it is a sim, so maybe one day.
Yeah, it would be awesome. And I was talking about it last week on one of my broadcasts with LSR TV. Did you see that beautiful number 4 Hoonigan Camaro there? Big shout out to Ken Block. Obviously, rest in peace. Unfortunately taken from us a little too short in that snowmobile accident. Only thing I got to say to Chad Lang is, man, that should be on a Ford, man. He drove Fords. Why is it on a Chevy? But yeah, back to the real point. The weather, obviously, it's going to play a big factor when it does come, because iRacing has been hinting at wet weather conditions for a significant amount of years now. I want to say it's been about 2 or 3 years now since they really started talking about the development of rain on these racetracks. And I mean, if you throw rain into the equation on these sims, and you put these guys in particular here in the Mach-1 Performance Series on rain, none of these guys, I guarantee you, know how to race in the rain probably on the sim, unless they have some other sim experience from a different simulator. But I want to say, I think if you do put these guys in the rain, I think that the dirt guys are definitely going to do a lot better. In particularly guys who race like super dirt late models, the 410 wing sprint cars, stuff like that. As we had another incident here on the track, and that is unfortunately Colton Gum, a driver who's just been going so wide all night long. Colton just needs to get a little bit easier on the brakes, man. It's unfortunate to see Colton Gum having a lot of lockups. No spots lost, though. Obviously, no harm, no foul. But like I talked about, that's going to cost him a spot or two. Could cost him tenths. Could cost him 10 positions later on in the race. So Colton Gum having himself kind of a rocky start here to this race, as we're only 12 laps in. But it's all Troy Torgerson up at the front. But Jeremy, I'm seeing a couple guys. You got Rocket Man Rowe and Mr. Coy there. They're gaining very, very quickly on Troy Torgerson. They've been closing about half a second a lap, like I talked about that last time around. 2:14.96 for Troy, and a 2:13.59 and a 2:13.48 for the 19 and the 15. And here we go, battle for the lead, Jeremy, as they're going to go reach down to turn number 12. Coy tried the inside, not enough. He's going to trail behind Torgerson and bring Moreau as long as well with him down this back straightaway here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good race here into 12. Will the 15 make a move? Which I'm surprised to see Nicholas Murray up here, to be 100% honest. This guy usually runs really fast early, then has some more fall off compared to others. But this time on the road course, this 15 camp for Aurora Motorsports, they have this long run set up here. He is matching and being better than Richie every single lap. But now, since they're behind the 39 of Troy Torgerson, who's had a much faster fall off on this run, as we're 12 laps in of scheduled 44. They're kind of checked up right now, but I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to see this 15 contend for the lead here shortly after they get around the 39, who's desperately holding onto that car and holding onto that front position.
Yeah, and Richie Coy really doesn't have to get around him quickly. His biggest competition right now is Nicholas Moreau, but you did talk about Nick being a driver who's very fast on the openings of races or runs, and then kind of falls off as the run progresses. But I mean, he's still fast right now, obviously hanging in with last year's defending race winner Richie Coy, as Nick actually looks to the outside, might try to cross over here out of turn 1. He kind of tried it, not enough though. Richie Coy's going to have that position still. But Richie right now, he's just got to be cool, calm, collective. Remember, long race, man. You don't got to be risking your car. Richie obviously knows what he's doing. He's a great driver in the sim from what I've seen. And he's right here running in second, tracing down the leader, Troy Torgerson. I wouldn't really be surprised if he probably takes the lead going into 11.
Really good battle here coming through the S's. They are bumper to bumper here, first through third at the top of the hill here, headed down towards turn 10 and 11. Richie has the position. Does he attack here? He's one of the patient guys here at FTSR, but he's going to make the attack this time. This is about the second or third time we've seen him make this move here. A little more aggressive on this road course, and it pays off for the 19. Richie Coy is resuming as your race leader now. Nicholas Moreau all over the back bumper of the 39 of Troy Torgerson. Heading up into turn number 12. I think we might see the 15. Well, I'm going to take that back. 15 let him go. I'm surprised he didn't make that attack to the bottom of 12, but he's going to let him see another day. But the 39 makes his own mistake, clears the track for Moreau all by himself.
Oh, Ryan Hendrick went off too.
15.
Ryan Hendrick went off too. Right there in the back. That was unfortunate.
47 having some issues. That's currently, he's running in 4th place last lap by.
Yeah, that was a big moment for the 47. We were seeing them come off turn 12. And I had to cut you off because I saw the 47 go way wide. I almost thought he was going to end up there in the soft wall, but unfortunately, no harm, no foul, -1 position though. And that moves Tony Solari there in the number 11 machine. He moves up to the top 4 right now. So he's going to try to go chase down these top 3, but Richie Coy, good job being patient. Nicholas Moreau finally got around Troy Torgerson as well after the 39 went wide, but you could just see how much grip these guys don't have right now later on in this run. You saw the 19 and the 15 as well. They're off turn number 20, getting super loose. But these are the two probably that are going to be in contention for this win here tonight. Nicholas Moreau, known for being the Rocket Man, just like Ryan Newman. But he's Rocket Man Moreau here tonight. He's trying to run down Richie Coy so fast in those first few laps of the race or runs, and then just kind of falls off. But he's sticking with Richie Coy right now. I wouldn't be surprised, Jeremy, if Nicholas Moreau is able to get to that number 19's back bumper. These have been two of the fastest guys all season long.
Yeah, these guys through all of 2022 had a little fun rivalry going. Is they would just not, every single race, they would be, you know, within maybe a half a second of each other for over half the season. So no surprise to see the 19 and the 15 duking it out once again, 6 races into the 2023 season. And I think, watch that 15. I think he's going to be taking that lead from the 19 before they make their pit stops, whenever that might be. I know they're strong here on the road courses. They love it. They got that long run set up here, and Richie did spin out early on. So, I mean, the tire wear advantage has to go to the 15. And I've not seen the 15 lock up the tires like the 19 has either. So, all that being said, I think, watch that Nicholas Moreau camp. I think he's going to get around the 19 here.
Yeah, well, also remember, too, Jeremy, Richie Coy made a mistake out of turn 12, which cost him the lead just a handful of laps ago. And he didn't just lose 1. He didn't just lose 2. He lost about 3 or 4 positions, and now Richie Coy's back in the lead. So he doesn't want to get up on his high horse too quickly. Obviously, Nicholas Moreau still hanging in there, only back by about 0.4 of a second. Nick very well could still pass Richie, and the opportunity for a mistake is wide open here at Circuit of the Americas with how many twists and turns we have. You see one driver there. That's the number 27 of Ryan Chapman go wide into turn 11. That's just been the trouble spot all night between turns 11 and 12, like I talked about, man. And it's only going to become more frequently all night long. And hey, that last time around, Jeremy, Nicholas Moreau, fastest lap of the race, and he's closing it on Richie Coy, 2:13.33 that last time around. Rocket Man Moreau is on a mission to try to get to the moon, and by the moon, I mean first place with his rocket ship, number 15 Camaro. He is chasing Richie Coy, and he is about a car length away from getting to his back bumper.
Richie's feeling the pressure here, missing the mark through the S's, allows the 15 to remain nice and tight within just a car length or 2. Really strong corner that 15 went through that time. I think that's through 7 now. 8 coming into 9. Up at the top of the hill. 15 gets a little squirrely there at the very top, headed back downhill. It's a really wide corner there, but at the same token, you're headed downhill, so that weight transfer gets a lot of cars sideways with these guys. Able to maintain, comes through turn 11, nice and clean. Goes to the longest straightaway on the Cup circuit here as they're starting to come up to lap traffic here. It looks like maybe that 27 up front.
Yeah, it could be, but here they come down the straightaway. It looks like to be the number 6 machine of James Torrey, actually. So he's going to play a factor, or I believe it might be the 27. Can't really tell there from the camera. It is the number 6 machine. 27 to 6 just look a little bit very similar. And James Torrey going to get out of the way for these guys. Nice respect given. So bravo to James Torrey there for letting these guys go. But man, Nicholas Moreau is hunting down Richie Coy still. Just can't get around him. But like I talked about, Jeremy, the opportunity for a mistake is absolutely opened. And that's not just open, it is wide open for Richie Coy. Obviously making that mistake just a handful of laps ago. As you see the 15 get really loose there out of turn number 18, now into 19. Nicholas Moreau is hunting that number 19 machine as we ride on board here from the cockpit cam. You see him head out of turn 20, a little loose there. And here they come up to turn number 1.
These virtual guys don't care. You can see the dashboard telemetry all you want. No blur zone on this camera. As they head off up the hill to turn 1. Richie had an excellent turn 20, able to gap the 15 by quite a few car lengths. Headed back downhill for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all through the S's here. This is where the 15 has generally been a little better than the 19. As we're riding on board still, watching that wheel. Nice smooth rotation. We're already seeing the 19 get closer in the windshield here. Coming through, I think this is 5 and 6. Going through 7 now. And then 8, 9 to the top of the hill. The 15 is getting there. He just has to get the back half of the track down, and I think Moreau can make this pass happen.
Yeah, he might be able to, but now he's losing a lot of ground. Back by about 1 and 4 tenths right now. And Richie Coy is starting to put on the jets right now. Starting to kind of fade away from the number 15 machine. We talked about it, and you mentioned it, Jeremy. That 15 very fast in the opening stages of a run or the beginning of a race. And now he's kind of starting to fall off the pace a little bit. Maybe used up his tires a lot. You saw how much he was able to close in on Richie Coy. Now obviously falling off back a little bit over 1 second. So, man, I guarantee you Nicholas Moreau is probably just trying to hang in there, wait until the green flag stops come, and hopefully he's going to be able to be on the same strategy as Richie Coy, because I bet you, Jeremy, if those two guys pit together, I think Nicholas Moreau is definitely going to be a lot faster than Richie Coy out of the gate, because we did talk about he's very, very fast on fresh tires, and it seems to be Nicholas Moreau's wheelhouse.
Yeah, let's see which one pits first. That'll be the difference of who's going to lead the second half of the run here. We had the cameras momentarily on Tony Solari and Ryan Hedrick, as they had a pretty decent battle there last lap. But they've kind of quickly spaced out here. About 10 car lengths now separate 4th place Tony Solari and 5th place Ryan Hedrick, who a few laps ago, Ryan Hedrick did have that turn 12 wide entrance there. So I had to recoup from that. But they're still doing their thing. Everybody else is really spaced out, other than maybe going back to Brody Hanna here. Right in front of him, we have the 31 of Jeff Chandler and the 27 of Ryan Chapman, your Truck Series points leader. Little decent battle here for just inside the top 10.
Yeah, everybody's kind of a little bit spread out right now, but obviously that is the product of a road course. But here comes the 31. Jeff Chandler had the last couple weeks very, very tough for him. Nice to see him up in the top 10, sitting in the in the 9th position right now there in that beautiful number 31 Camaro. He's trying to chase down Ryan Chapman as he heads through the S's. Looks to be a little bit grippier in a sense than that number 27 machine, but he's also got Brody Hanna right on his back bumper as well. So obviously, as you see, oh my goodness, right there, Brody Hanna absolutely sent it on the 31. Kind of had to go wide a little bit to prevent himself from getting into the back of Jeff Chandler there now as they head down the hill. They start that descent to turn number 11 here. Jeff Chandler looks like he's going to try to make the pass, I believe, on the 27. He will, and the 27 lets him go. No, he won't. Talk about crossing over. Not going to happen. The 27 had to lay off there. I believe the 31 of Jeff Chandler might have been trying to come down the racetrack right there to prevent the 27 from crossing over. Not sure. Might have to get a replay on that, but Jeff Chandler able to make the pass, and here comes Brody Hanna now looking for that position on Ryan Chapman. He's going to get it. No lockup for him. He's clear there at a turn number 12.
What a drive into turn 12 there from Brody Hanna. Just car length back, sends it to the inside of the corner. You see right here on Nerd TV replay. 31 essentially same thing, drives it real deep, uses all the corner real estate in turn 11, gets to the rumble strip there and clears a 27 no problem. And then Brody Hanna had the same exact thing, went through turn 12 and just cleared them really hard drive into the corner, and it stuck, which is excellent there. I think Wednesday Brody and Richie had the same setup, but one was tighter, one was looser, and it looks similar to this case here. Richie's been a little bit more, unpredictable, and the 23 of Brody Hanna's just had a really excellent car, very stable all race long. But when you make your car tighter, you give up some speed, and that's probably why we see Brody Hanna running in 9th place. Richie Coy in the 19, still in the lead, almost a full second, separating him in the 15, which has been about that way probably for the past 2 laps. Is the 15, you mentioned it, just not holding the pace like I thought he was going to. I'm going to give a quick shout out, speaking of holding pace. What better way to do it with a set of gloves from Martin Sports, small company with a big time product, home of the sim gloves, Evolve Sim Racing. They make the most breathable and durable racing gloves the sim world has ever seen, specializing also in fully customized sublimation printing on everything from team uniforms to shirts and hoodies. And they also do custom hats now with their embroidery machine, new to the office. So if you're looking to pick up anything apparel-wise from Martin Sports, head over to martinsports906.com or on your screen there, martinsports.gg. And when you're in your checkout, make sure you use that Super Nerd checkout code. It's going to save you a whopping 25% off anything you pick up from martinsports.gg. And headed back to the action here on your screen. Still, I got it down with 14, Lane Allen on your screen here with, looks like Ryan Chapman trying to make a pass here to the bottom. And makes a great pass, but drives it super deep. He's going to hit the dirt. Jason is looped it around as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, Jeremy. Once you get into that sand, dirt, whatever you want to call it, the second you put the power down, man, oh man, is it hard to gain a lot of traction and get back onto the racing surface. That's just an unfortunate, circumstance there for Ryan Chapman. And, I mean, I had the pass good, and then Steven Allen there got right past him. Obviously, Steven, not that bad of a road racer, currently sitting just inside the top 10, right on that bubble in the 10th spot. He was last year's Truck Series winner here. I believe he had a good night just this past Wednesday, and he's looking to have himself a good night here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series as he heads out of turn number 20, up the hill. But hey, right now, battle for the lead a little bit, starting to heat up. Nicholas Moreau, you did talk about that gap was about a second and a half. And then it got to about less than a second. I think the closest I've seen is about half a second. And they've been flirting between 0.8 to 0.5 of a second. Nicholas Moreau, do not count him out yet, Jeremy, because he has been very fast. That last time around, he was about a 10th faster than Richie Coy that last time around. It's just all about if Nicholas Moreau can put the power down, because I'm noticing that Richie's able to put the power down a lot better off the corner. You see the 15 got a little bit tight, looked like maybe a little bit loose there out of the corner.
You saw the 33 of Sherwood Williford give way there, entering turn 11. Did not want to be a part of anything amongst these race leaders, trying to duke it out for the lead. Still about 6 or 7/10 of a second separate these two, not letting each other go, and this rivalry is continuing on through 2023. Put on a really good show for you guys watching Nerd TV, wherever you're watching us, at Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We're live and we got you. The chats are open, guys. I don't see anything live in the chats at the moment, so if you are watching, you want to comment or have a suggestion or question, we'd love to shout you out. So they are open, ready for you. But the 15, that time through the stadium section of the track there, Jason, really closing in on the 19. He's been struggling through this part of the track, and I think if he could do that a few more times, we might see a little change up here.
Yeah, that 15 is really close. And actually, this is the opportunity. 19 went wide. 15 was going to attack. Thought to himself, nope, not going to dive bomb it. Shout out to Rocketman Moreau there for not diving it in there on the 19. That's just heads-up driving. Very, very respectful out of Nicholas Moreau, and he's doing a great job just trying to reel in Richie Coy right now. But still 0.7 of a second back from him. Any more mistakes like that by Richie Coy could result in Nicholas Moreau taking that lead away from that number 19, that native from Haskell, New Jersey there, as they wrap around turns 2 and head towards the S's, where Nicholas Moreau has been a little bit faster than Richie Coy here. We'll have to see.
Yep, they head off through here. Fairly clean, fairly equal for these two once again. The 15 just slightly gains through the first half of these S's, but when it comes to the top of the hill, the 15 just seems to lose some grip. So Nicholas is trying to figure that out as they get to the top of the hill. Just has to feather the throttle a little more, gets a little sideways there. Just can't get the power down, and allows the 19 to really extend that lead, almost 10 car lengths entering turn 11. Just very similar corner entrance here through that corner, now through the long straightaway. It's going to be about a 5-car separation. Will not have any attempt to make a pass once again. These guys, Jason, are on lap 20. We are 2 laps away from the halfway point, so I think this is going to be a one-stop shop for these teams. So I would watch lap 22 coming to lap 23 if we don't see a lot of these guys come down pit road for their only stop.
Yeah, that's more than likely going to be the case, Jeremy. That's how it was last Wednesday night for the Martin Sports Truck Series, and obviously probably going to be the same result here tonight. You know, and I mean, if you're Nicholas Moreau, you either pit the same lap as Richie Coy, or you pit earlier, or you pit a little bit later. So we're going to have to find out and see what Nicholas is going to end up doing. That's going to be probably one of the key points. Nick, very good on the short run, but Richie's able to really maintain that gap in the mid stage of a run or towards the end of it. But Nick is still able to hang in there. So yes, this door is going to be wide open for these guys here in just a handful of laps. Haven't really seen anybody notable inside that top 5 to top 10 pit yet. So gonna have to find out. Time's a ticking. Who's gonna be the first one to pit and try to leapfrog these guys with those fresh tires?
And we're gonna find this out in a couple laps. We're gonna go back to a commercial break right before the pit stops do happen. So we're gonna go picture-in-picture mode, and we'll be back with you guys after a few messages. And back to full screen action here of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. And we are still focused on the 19 of Richie Coy, the 15 Nicholas Moreau. Really the only battle on the track, and it's also the most significant one, as these guys are first and second place still, as we're on lap 22, coming to 23. Jason, which one do these guys you think are going to dip down first? Do you think the 15 is going to get that early advantage to make that pass? Or do you think Richie might shortcut that idea and give up the lap lead anyways?
I really think that the number 15 is probably going to have to, more than likely, Jeremy Pitt at the same time. I mean, you can't really lose all the time in the world by pitting a lap later than the 19, because just think about it. That 19 is going to come out on track, and obviously you're not going to go a lap down because this track's 3.4 miles long. The 15 is going to definitely either have to pit a lap earlier than the 19 or stay on the same strategy and pit exactly when he does. Because if that 19 pits earlier than the 15 does decide to stay out for a lap, Richie Coy is going to have pressure. Here they both come. Never mind. Forget exactly what I said. Now the question, Jeremy, is going to be who wins the race off of pit road, because they were both very equal coming into pit road and put only about a car length and a half between those two. And here also comes Troy Torgerson, Tony Solari, Kyle Milliken. Everybody's in this time around.
This is super interesting. I know these have a wider wheelbase than the Cup cars from previous. So I know the tire wear isn't as extreme as it was in the Gen 6 car and previous to that, but they come down all at the same time. You just, if I was I don't know. It's tough, man.
Ooh, the 15 might beat him.
Nope, he gives it away. It squeezes up right there, funnels in tightly on pit exit. The 19 is going to resume your race leader. I'm surprised everyone came down at the same time to not do is the 19 already locking them up early, but I guess the tire wear is not really a huge factor in comparison to years prior.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, we saw in the Cup race yesterday that the tire wear was not really a huge factor compared to the Xfinity or the Truck Series. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a factor here today. It's just definitely not as much of a factor as the Trucks or the Xfinity Series cars, both in real life and on iRacing. Obviously, with this wider, low-profile tire, but I mean, still, you're going to have lack of grip. Maybe not so much. Oh, the 18 goes around! Oh my goodness! Nice job by Richie Coy with saving it and not hitting that inside wall. Jeremy, that's what cold tires is going to do to you, man.
I was just going to say, you made that comment when Talon Smith was making his qualifying lap, his opening lap anyways. You said those cold tires you can't press the issue, and that's the case right there. Just that car just got so loose, so free for no reason at the top of the hill. There's no grip in the tires for the first lap, and so that's going to bite him in the rear here, as he is down significantly, like 8 to 9 seconds back of the 15. Now Nicholas Moreau has an open track. The race is his to win or lose, as long as he can keep all of his tires gripped up for the remaining 22 laps. I think we have a race winner unless somehow the 19 does what he did before and just drives up to him.
Yeah, and he very well could drive up towards him. As you see the 19 right there. Man, oh man, so close to getting into that inside retaining guardrail there. But just look at that. Look at that gap now. He was in front of him, now he's behind him, and he's not just behind him, Jeremy, he's almost 8 seconds back from Nicholas Moreau. But hey, man, Richie Coy is going to be Richie Coy. And, oh, my goodness, almost hits it there with the left front fender. So good job to Richie Coy for saving it. But hey, man, that's what cold tires are going to do. Elevation changes, going over the rumble strips, plus cold tires is a recipe for disaster. And you might as well call it the disaster cake right there. That's what Richie Coy must have had for dessert there, heading up through down into turn number 11, because that's pretty much what he had. But hey, man, he's been very fast tonight. I guarantee you he could probably get past Troy Torgerson. He's just going to need a lot, and he's going to have no mistakes. But the gap right now, almost 9 seconds for Richie Coy. It's not looking very good right now. As you see the 57 there, Joshua Johnson locked up going into turn 11 just a few moments ago.
He's had a few moments this race and continuing to struggle through the 20-turn track here at Circuit of the Americas. Disaster cake sounds terrible. I would not even attempt to eat one of those. I don't know why you would want it, but I guess Richie Coy in this case, to your analogy, wanted a slice, was curious, and curiosity killed the cat. And now we're sitting 7.6 behind the race leader, Nicholas Moreau, as he's right behind the 39, Troy Torgerson, who did resume in second place after the little mishap by Richie Coy. The 39 rather, he's running really good on these short runs. He's got speed. He can match the 19. It's just that long run, he falls off. So let's see if he made any adjustments to his driving line or to the car itself to try to recoup the long run a little bit and compete to give himself a better chance of finishing inside the top two.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Troy was very good in those few opening laps, but then as those first few laps started to tick off, I want to say, Jeremy, if I remember correctly, I think it was about like lap 4, lap 5. That number 39 machine started to really fall off, and it allowed Richie Coy and Nicholas Moreau to get past them. So Troy is definitely a top 3 car, if not a top 4 to 5 car at the most. And Troy's been doing a very good job tonight. He hasn't really made a lot of mistakes. I mean, obviously Nicholas Moreau hasn't either, but Troy's been very, very good here tonight. Not the greatest, obviously, but he's been very good, obviously. Being inside the top 3, top 5 all night long. Only lost that lead due to a long green flag run, basically. And here he is now with fresh tires. He's able to really maintain that gap and kind of closing in just a little bit. That last time around, he was actually a tenth and a half faster than Nicholas Moreau. And believe it or not, Jeremy, Richie Coy was actually the slowest out of those top 3 there.
Yeah, that little mishap there probably took a little speed off the car early on, but let's see if Richie can recoup and make that happen. And this this part of the race, you're going to need to stay focused. And to stay focused, you're going to want to have a product none other than Roasted Gems Coffee. Offers premium quality, ethically produced coffee beans from different parts of the world, coupled with delicious blends and flavors that'll make your taste buds melt with delight. Roasted Gems Coffee is the only place to quench your caffeinated coffee desires. They value your coffee experience with each order roasted to perfection upon order and shipped straight to your door for peak flavor. So whether if you want that mellow flavor, just a hint of caffeine to get the day started, right? Or so strong it'll show up on your drug test. Hopefully you don't have to take one of those. Roasted Gems will have you covered. And that's at roastedgems.com. Super Nerds, use that checkout code at checkout for 10% off anything you purchase there from Roasted Gems Coffee. And you see the pass from the 19 of 39. 39 great apex there. The 39 Troy Torgerson really gives up the corner, knows the speed that Richie has, and says, hey, man, I know you got this. Take it with ease. And now the 19 can refocus on the 15 again.
Yeah, well, I bet you Richie Coy definitely just had himself some Roasted Gems coffee there heading into turn number 11 because he's kind of turned on the Jets now because he is now obviously still 7.5 seconds back. But this is where Richie was really starting to get on, about 2 to 3, 4 laps into a run. He was really starting to reel in and kind of, set himself in some stone. And as I say, that gets very loose there, but obviously getting around a lap car there, heading through turn 19, now into 20. I tell you what, man, I could definitely use some Roasted Gems coffee as well because my butt is definitely very tired after the day I've had. I need some Roasted Gems coffee to get me through the next 19 laps. But Richie Coy, that last time around, a little bit slower than Nicholas Moreau. And wow, what a lap by Tony Solari. 2:13 even right there. Fastest man on the racetrack. Can't believe I'm saying that, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. He's been top 5 all night long, Jeremy. But wow, this late in the race, obviously, though, fresh tires playing a factor. 2:13 flat, man. That is very, very impressive there. And actually, if you look on the top right there, shout out to Dustin for the graphics. You see, actually, that's a 2:12.998, so even faster than what the Apex Racing TV live timing scoring is giving us. And Jeremy, that's a fast lap by Tony Solari.
Yeah, you see right there, 2:14, 2:14, 2:14. That boom hits you with a 2:12, just basically a 2:13 to round up. But I mean, that's the 11. He's the mastermind of the road course setups for Fury Motorsports. So knowing that he's got some speed in that car doesn't surprise me. He's just maybe struggling to hit the mark around every single corner per lap. And so that time, I think he nailed all of his marks perfectly and got that stellar lap time there. He resides in 4th place. He's doing an excellent job. 5 seconds back off your 3rd place, Troy Torgerson. Um, doing a great job. But we're going to go ahead and do, since I think at this point, all the pit stops have cycled through. Everyone's back to where they were, essentially. So we're going to go over the Nerd TV Top 10 recap. We're going to start off with your race leader, Nicholas Moreau, and that Uni-Tool Chevrolet Camaro. Just right now in a league of his own after the issue with the 19 on the top of the hill, about 5 laps prior. Setting sail right now, doing good. So as long as he holds that wheel straight and doesn't loop it, I think he's got a great chance of finishing in 1st. 2nd place, Richie Coy. We already talked about him and his woe and his efforts now to come back to the 15 if he can. Almost 8 seconds back that last lap, crosses the line, still at 8 seconds, just over. So he is losing ground each and every lap to the 15. So Richie's got some work to do. 3rd place, Troy Torgerson. Doing an excellent job here, running his own race, not worrying about anything. Doesn't have to. There's no one else really around him. 4th place, Tony Slaughter. We just talked about him too, running off one of his best lap times tonight, or actually the best lap time for him tonight. Running a strong race, 33 seconds over the 42 car, who's in 5th place. That's Kyle Milliken, who had that issue a little early on, but he's only had one of those moments, and he's run a really clean race since then. That 42 Ford Mustang just getting around this really long track. Real good, real smooth. 6th place, Ryan Hedrick in the 47. Again, after that long drive into turn 12, really got into the dirt almost. He's also recouped from that and running a really stellar race at this point forward. 6th place, not a bad effort here. 7th place, Chris Curtis in the 98. We have Robert Curtis watching our broadcast out there, continuing to shout out for Chris Curtis. Chris right now all by himself, 24.5 back from the leader. He's got 6 seconds before you find the next guy, which is in 8th place. That's Brody Hanna. They're in that Ford Mustang as he takes that corner right there, really wide as the sun is starting to go behind some clouds. You've seen a lot of cloud coverage here around this big track. Lane Allen, 9th place there in the 14. Right behind Brody Hanna. These two guys have been around each other basically all race long. And then around out to 10th place, the 31 of Jeff Chandler. He's now midway down the back stretch here. Again, all by himself for like at least 20 car lengths. As you see Josh Mew coming up on his screen. And that is your Nerd TV Top 10 recap. We go through the field, and we have about, 14 laps or 16 laps here left, Jason?
Yeah, 18 to go right now, and Nicholas Moreau ran the fastest lap time. Not that time by, but it was a 2:12.82. Obviously not this time by, but last time around ran the fastest lap. And hey, take a look, Richie Coy. This is that moment in the race where he was starting to be really good. Nicholas Moreau, maybe the tires wearing off a little bit. Richie Coy that last time around was nearly about a second faster than Nicholas Moreau that last time around. It was about almost 8 seconds. Now it's just under 7 seconds for Richie Coy. 6.69 seconds right now as he heads through the S's. I wouldn't be surprised, Jeremy, if Richie Coy is able to get up to Nicholas Moreau late on in this run. We did see Nick start to fall off towards the end of that first stint there. Man, Richie Coy is going to be one hard driver to defend once he gets there, because he's been very patient all night, but you give him just a handful of laps to go. I'm sure Richie Coy is not going to do so much given. He's going to do a lot more taking here as these laps wind down. So you bet, like I said earlier, he definitely had himself some Roasted Gems coffee. He's woken up here late into the night, 10:17 Eastern time. He's here. Circuit of the Americas trying to run down Nicholas Moreau, and he might just do that here with just under 16.5 laps to go.
I was really impressed there. Nicholas Moreau ran his fastest lap 2 laps ago on lap 26, ran a 2:12.8, and then the very next lap runs a 2:14.0. So maybe used up his stuff a little too much that previous lap, and that allowed Richie Coy to close it on in by a whole second as the 15 really goes wide through turn 16 there. Wasn't looking too comfortable either going through the prior corners in 15 and 14. So the 15, I think, has lost his grip. Goes really wide through that section as well. So we're maybe starting to see that fall off where the 15 has and where the 19 is advantages on the long run. So the 15 continues to lock them up. The 19 runs consistent. And, if you can take off another 8/10 of a second for the next few laps, we might see this two-car battle resurrect each other again.
Yeah, we might. And honestly, Jeremy, that gap right now between Coy and Moreau, it's almost down below 6 seconds right now. The 15 has been making a lot of mistakes these last few laps, especially going into the stadium corners. You saw him lock it up not once, but locked it up twice. So he's getting very loose. Those tires starting to wear out on that number 15 Camaro as he heads through the S's. And Richie Coy, he's just hoping for Nicholas Moreau to make a mistake, but don't think too quickly that Richie Coy can gain some position, or not gain some positions, but gain some time on Nicholas Moreau, because Richie Coy hasn't just lost the lead once tonight. He's lost the lead twice. Once going into turn 11, putting the power down too early, and then cold tires putting the power down a little early, going up almost into turn 11, which is what they're heading to right now. Right there is where Richie Coy lost it pretty much just a handful of laps ago. But it's under 6 seconds now, Jeremy. 5.78 seconds back. Richie Coy is reeling in that number 15 of Rocket Man Moreau. 2:13.10 that last time around for him, and a 2:14.11. So again, an entire second faster than Nicholas Moreau. Richie Coy is starting to make headway towards the front of the field here.
Yeah, Richie ran a 2:13.1 that last lap. Nicholas Moreau back-to-back 2:14 lap time. That time a 14.11. One of the slowest laps Mr. Rocketman has had this run. And so he's lost 2 seconds in 2 laps. All of a sudden, here we go. It's one of those moments of, well, I got to change what I'm doing now, or this Richie Coy guy, which we know he's bad fast on these long runs, he will be here. He will get to me. That's no question. So the 15's got to change something up, Jason. He's got to change his line. He's got to take care of them tires a little bit differently through different sets of corners. If he can figure out what corners those are, it is tricky to do the homework yourself with no spotter. And so he's got 15 laps to go at the line here to figure this out, as we're going to see their intervals as they get to the front stretch.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Nicholas Moreau, I'm noticing, too, that he's letting that back end of the car, the tail end, you'd say, slide out a lot on exit of these corners to try to make sure that he can get really arced into the next corner. That's definitely going to hurt your tires. And you just see how loose he is. He's really just putting the power down super early. That's going to really affect him. Obviously, that last time around, faster actually than Richie Coy. 2:12.74 for him, 2:13.14 for Richie Coy. So he was able to change up something. Maybe somebody was watching the broadcast here on Nerd TV and told him, said, "Hey Nick, man, we're gonna need you to kind of pipe it down just a little bit, buddy, because you're kind of losing that gap you have there." And now it's almost to over 7 seconds. So Nicholas really just has to try to not really put the power down too much late in these runs, and he's kind of just, from what I'm seeing, Jeremy, from our perspective here on the broadcast, looks like he's kind of going, balls to the wall pretty much here. These last few laps, he just needs to kind of tone it down a little bit, especially with a 7-second gap, and we've seen Richie Coy have a gap that large pretty much and lose it. So if you're Nicholas Moreau, you want to try to end those last 2 weeks of bad luck here tonight and ended up on a good note with a win. You really don't want to give it up the way that Richie Coy gave it the lead 2 times here tonight.
And technically the 15, Moreau, did run his fastest lap of the race that last lap, but it was unofficial. He had received an incident point somewhere around that lap, maybe exceeding track limits. And so it gave him the 2:12.7, but the recorded fastest time is a 2:12.8 on lap 26, a few laps prior. So the 15 is found some speed again. If he can keep that momentum, I know you said maybe take it a little easier, but if he can hold that momentum and run that same lap time for the next few laps, that might be enough to keep the 19 away from your bumper here. As you see, there is actually no 19 right there. At the very last second, you saw him coming through turn 19 as the 15 was going through turn 20. A little action here going down the long straightaway. This is the 47, Ryan Hedrick. Drives it in super deep. He is not having a good night as far as turn 12 is concerned. Really locks it up going straight into that corner, slows it up, able to miss the sand trap So good job on not hitting the sand trap because that would really ruin your lap for sure. But Nicholas Moreau, once again, 2:12.0. He almost hit a 2:11 that time by Jason. Just really just blew it out of the water. Richie Coy, the 2:13.3. So all of a sudden, that 5 second gap is almost now 8 again as Nicholas Moreau is taking charge again.
Yeah, and it's about to get to 9 seconds. 2:13.31 for Richie Coy that last time around. This is not what he's wanting to see right now. He does not want to see the man that they call the Rocket Man here. You might as well just call him Elton John because he definitely is the Rocket Man here tonight. You can call him Elton John, you call him Ryan Newman, whatever you want that relates to the Rocket Man because Nicholas Moreau has sure enough been the Rocket Man tonight late in this second half of the race. Obviously, 2:12.02. That was almost as fast, Jeremy, as Talon Smith was in practice and qualifying. Remember, Talon was running a 2:11, obviously not here. Pretty sure from what our analogy was, giving it back to the fans at home, from what we understand, the 18 car obviously had a penalty last week for that block at Atlanta and causing that massive melee going into turn 1. And from what we believe, the 18 said, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to just give up all that hard work and work my way up to the front to possibly get involved in some incidents. And he decided to park it. So that's really why Nicholas Moreau and Richie Coy are up at the front of this field. But Nicholas Moreau learning every lap. And like I said, Jeremy, somebody must be relaying to him what we said on the broadcast, noticing he's not really going as wide as he would out of the corners. And obviously that last time around, 2:12.02, man, that's fast, man.
Fastest lap recorded during the race session alone. PP mocks that here as he crosses the line. Runs a 13.5, so a second and a half slower. Not the lap time that we have seen. Now we're going to go to Richie Coy, see what kind of lap time he might run this time. Coming to the line, 2:14.3, another second lost that time. So 8.5 back of first place. So as the laps kind of wind down, 13 laps to go, he's starting to lose touch of what could be going through the field here. The only other battle really on the track, 23 Broda Hanna in 8th place. Got Lane Allen still on his tail. They're in the 14 and 9th place. They're on the same straightaway, headed up toward the top of turn number 1. Everybody else is really spaced out at this moment. So with that being said, we're going to kick it out to our another picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys after a few messages. Man, back to full screen coverage for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, as we are currently on lap 33 of scheduled 44 laps. 12 to go here, about 11 and a half really, at this time. We don't have a commercial for them, so I'm going to give another shout out to one of our partners, this time to Sim Racing Points. It's an all-inclusive league points management system that allows you, league owners and admins, to the ability to completely track their league stats and points with a simple upload. Sim Racing Points did not stop there. For the avid webmasters, they also allow custom creation of widgets for any league website to fully display points, results, and more that easily update when the results are uploaded. Few simple clicks, and boom, your site's up and uploaded correctly with everything from the race prior. So if you're willing to or wanting to make your league look more professional than what it already is, head over to simracingpoints.com and check out their prices and packages they offer to you. All right, that being said, going back through, Richie Coy still hanging at about an 8-second gap between him and Nicholas Moreau. Tony Solari during the break, you probably saw him on TV all over the map a couple times coming down the hill through turn 1, just getting wicked sideways, allowing the 42 of Kyle Milliken to advance that position, so it drops the 11 back to 5th place. Ryan Hedrick did lock him up heavy right before the break. He's still in 6th place. And we got Diane Chapman on the chats. I know this post a little bit ago, but she says, "Go, Ryan, go." That being for Ryan Chapman, who is currently sitting at 11th place. Basically all by himself, other than Brian Dublé, who's 1 second behind him. Everyone, Jason, just having a really clean, easy-going race, other than managing that tire wear, trying not to spin themselves out, which, minus the 19, we haven't seen much of.
Yeah, I mean, so far though, it's all really been Nicholas Moreau here late in this race. You know, with 11 laps to go, I mean, you got to think Richie Coy's got to do something, man. He's got to either be more aggressive. He's got to hope for the 15 to have a mistake, which ever since I really said on the broadcast that Nick was making a lot of mistakes, causing Richie to really gain to him, Nicholas kind of just turned on the jets, and he's been lights out so far. And I mean, and it's not like the gap has shrunk or grown. It's maintained. It's still around the 7 to 8.5 second bracket right now. Ranging right now at 7.5 actually. Richie Coy definitely has to do something differently. This is the part of the run though where he will be a lot stronger within the next 2 to 4 laps. But this end of the race, man, Nicholas is actually doing really good. He was struggling there that first half right before green flag pit stops. That time around though, we're at a 2:13.93 this time by the line. Richie is going to run a 2:13.56, so a little bit faster by about 0.4 of a second. But yeah, I mean, so far, all Nicholas Moreau, and Richie Coy just got to turn on the jets, got to hope for something to happen to Nicholas Moreau here late in the going.
Richie's definitely got to do something to make something happen to put himself where he was half this race. Just got our eyes right now on Troy Torgerson running in P3, 14.5 back from your race leader. Just like everybody else, just kind of ticking their own laps. As you see, there's nobody behind him except for 3 or 4 S corners before him is where you find the next set of guys, that being the 42 there of Kyle Milliken. So you can just see these road courses, they get really spaced out. This is the nature of the beast, you know. You're not tight quarters oval racing. You got a whole different skill set going left and right hand turns, up and down the hills, throttle management. You know, there's a bunch of different variables that you're not used to seeing each and every Monday and Wednesday for these boys. Here's see the 4, Chadlane going really wide through 19, coming to 20. Not so wide there. He does use the green spot a little bit and actually kicked his car a little sideways. A little bit of wheel spin on the green pavement section there. But yeah, just really easy-going race, Jason. Nothing much on the track, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing for the guys on the track. They just want to get this race over with, you know, but...
Yeah, this has been the battle, though, these last few laps. You see the 98 of Chris Curtis trying to hunt down Stephen Allen and Brody Hanna. They're pretty close together. Give it a few more laps, and I guarantee you they're going to be nose to tail here pretty shortly. Maybe even not even a few laps with how long this track is, obviously being a 3.4-mile road course. They're pretty much all there, and they're catching Ryan Hedrick, too, who, mind you, also has been locking it up a lot. I haven't seen him locking up much recently, but again, he did have a huge lockup just a handful of laps to go, so that definitely is affecting his front tires with grip, and that's enabling Brody Hanna, Stephen Allen, and also Chris Curtis, throw him into the picture here. Those top four are going to be battling pretty soon here, if I had to say so, Jeremy, because it's getting to that part of the race where tire wear is getting to be a big factor, and also you got what you got, so you got to run hard, and track position has been key all night long. So we're going to have to see what happens with these guys. With Ryan Hendrick definitely not the strongest out of those four right there that are all grouped up as they had out of 20.
Yeah, actually a pretty okay battle right now. They are pretty close to each other. Half a second to a second between each one for the next few spots here. We're going to keep our focus on him as the looks like the 14 Lane Allen doesn't get through turn one as well. The 23 is putting on a lot of pressure on the back of the 47. We'll see what happens through the S's here, as Brody might get a little aggressive here on the top of the hill to maybe use turn 11 to his advantage. He has to get to the top of the hill though, right on the back bumper of the 47 to make that pass effort happen. Curious to see how he does through that, going through turn 8 now. Going to make their way through turn 9. The little kink is turn 10, and the 23 might make this effort. He's there. He's got one car length. Does he dip down this time? He gets his nose. He's looking. He's looking. He makes the effort. Here we go. 47 goes really wide, but the 47 going to take that speed off corner exit and just say goodbye to the sunset down the long straightaway.
Yeah, and right there, you know, the 23 of Brody Hanna, he went in there really hard, kind of really dove it in a little too early, I think, and that's why. And then he was so sharp coming out. He was almost hugging the inside right there out of the corner, and that enabled Stephen Allen to close the gap big time. You see the 14 almost goes wide there, loses a little bit of time to Brody Hanna. But that enabled the 14, obviously, to close up to Brody's back bumper. And now Brody is still running down Ryan Hendrick here, who's had a very long night, to say the least, but still running 6th. Obviously had a lot of lockups. You see the 23 get a little loose there out of the corner now as they head to turn 7 and 18. Going to have to be really easy on the throttle here. It's kind of just like feathering it. You're kind of just like feeling like you're running on the highway. You can't really do much. You can't really speed up. You can't really slow down. You kind of just got to let the car coast through the corner while maintaining the throttle at the same time. But these guys just having one heck of a battle here. If this 23 can have a good exit here off 20, he might be able to have the run up the hill. No, he doesn't. The 47, Ryan Hendrick, gets a really good jump there out of turn number 20 as they head up the hill into 1 here, with just 8 laps to go.
Yeah, 47 gets a great launch off turn 20 to get that separation there. He knows the 23 is hungry. He wants that position, so he's going to do what he can to defend it. And getting great launches off corner exit is going to be a way to kind of secure your 6th place right now. But last lap, we saw Brody Hanna just do a much better job of going through these S's, and we're going to see if he does the same thing. It looks like Brody's actually overdriving the entrance of some of these corners, but still, oh, the 47, a little bit of an issue, and they go side by side here, Jason, as they're going through turns 8 and up to turn 9 now. But the 47 somehow gets it back, but a really sharp left-hander for the 47. It's going to allow Brody to take a look to the bottom here. The 47 is going to hold tight there on the top half. Let's see what they do going through an 11.
Yeah, 23's got to be really careful here. He kind of locks it up. The 47's going to cross over. They're 3 wide at a turn number 11. Brody Hanna's going to lose not 1 but 2 spots trying to dive bomb there on the 47. And here comes Stephen Allen to the inside. He's clear if he wants to move up. He sure enough will down this long back straightaway into turn number 12 as the 23 looks to go back. Gonna try to not lock it up into turn 12. That right front fender's got a little bit of damage, but he'll take that spot away from Stephen Allen. Now he's to the outside. Now make it the inside. Now back to the outside of the 47. Man, some great racing here for position late in the going with just 6.5 laps to go. And the 47 is trying everything he could do to hold on. The 23 goes wide. Contact made. The 47 goes wide. They're going to be side by side battling here for position as they head through turns 7 and 18. Man, this is a battle.
Brody used the 47 as a cushion to keep him onto the track and to push the 47 out of bounds, but able to still hold side by side. up until turn 19, where the 47 has to give way to the speed of the 23. Brody Hanna does clear him as they go through turn 20. Brody just a little, actually the 47 mimics him, and they both do a little slide action through that corner. Really good race here late in the going. But man, yeah, big block, big block. He knew that was coming there. They're going to be side by side up the top of the hill. Let's see who overdrives. And the 23 makes that block, takes his focus away from the track, and allows the 47, Ryan Hendrick, to regain that spot.
Yeah, and Ryan Hendrick's going to slam the door there, heading through turn number 2. Interesting line by the number 23 to try to block it down there to the inside, especially knowing that the 47 was pretty much right there, as the 23 much better through the S's as they head to turn number 6. Bumper almost being given to the 47 of Hendrick. Here they come. 6, 7, now turn 8. And about to hit turn 9, which has been a troublesome spot for some drivers here all night, putting the power down. Here comes the 23. Crossover now to the inside of the racetrack. Here they come. Turn number 10. 23 is going to clear them. And here they come into turn number 11. The 47 almost dives it in there as the 23 tried to go wide. Not enough, though. He's going to be able to put the power down. Gets a little loose. And Hendrick trailing him now as they head to the back straightaway, followed by Stephen Allen.
23 Hanna gets through turn 11 well, which that's been his worst corner when it comes to passing efforts. But the 47 now is going to get the nice draft on the back. Almost looked like he wanted to look low, but decides to keep it single file. But the 14 drives it in deep, almost gets to the back bumper. The 47 able to not touch him as they come through turns 13 and 14. Now Ryan Hendrick knows this is his better part of the track. He's going to try to look low on the 23, just can't get enough speed to do so. Going through 15 and 16 now. 23, we've seen issues before, and here he goes. Gets loose, saves it with a lot of brake to get that car straightened out, but it's going to cost him 2 positions again as the 14 and the 47 does get a bit back around the 23 of Brody Hanna, as he once again has to go on the attack.
Man, nice job by Brody Hanna, able to save that car. That thing was practically 90 degrees heading out at turn number 16 there as the 14 goes wide. Give Brody Hanna position again, and now that opens up the door for Chris Curtis, who's been lurking in that number 98 machine back in the 9th spot. This now jumps him up into position to try to pass the number 14 car. So everybody having issues in front of Chris. If these guys keep on racing the way they do, Chris might be able to not pick up just 1. He might be able to pick up 2 or 3 spots, going a little wide there, but these guys are all grouped up here with just 6 laps to go, and they're having one heck of a battle as they make their way towards the S's here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, 6 laps to go, and this race has picked up quite a bit for just outside the top 5. This is the better part of the track for the 23 versus the 47, as the 23 is utilizing all of the red curbing when necessary, able to really just pick up some time there, getting those tires way to the outside part of the track up against the grass line. This is one of the better parts here. We'll see the 23 he makes a little bit of ground on the 47 this time. Definitely not enough, though, for a pass effort, but let's see if he can get through turn 11, which has been troublesome for Brody Hanna at times. Really widens out the corner entry. Gets a good launch off, but Ryan Hendrick does the same thing as they go down the long stretch.
Yeah, the 98 of Chris Curtis, too, lost a little bit of ground there out of turn number 11. He got wicked loose there when trying to put the power down on those rumble strips. Remember, folks, those rumble strips, they don't really provide grip unless they really have a lot of rubber on them. But even with a lot of rubber, you see the 47 lock it up there. And the 57, I think, went around there off the corner. That's interesting to see. Joshua Johnson, who is the first car 1 lap down, right in front of that little pack of cars here as we take a look at your Nerd TV replay. Heading out of the corner. Yup, just loops it around. Nice job locking it up. Could have easily spun it around and made the tail end of the car hit that inside guardrail and stayed out of the way of the leaders. And the 47 did a nice job along with the rest of those guys there grouped up with him. But, man, everybody gets really loose there going on to those rumble strips. There's not a lot of grip. So going to be interesting to see if anybody late in this race here has any more issues when trying to put the power down on those rumble strips. See the 23 dive bomb to the inside, and the 47 with a crossover. He's going to get to his quarter pan. A little bit of side drafting. Not that much of a factor here on these road courses. But, man, these guys have been duking it out. Reminds me of Richie Coy and his teammate the other night in the Truck Series. This is just the 47, the 23 battling super hard, and another crossover. The 23 has to lay off a little bit here. 5 laps to go, man. You think this would be for the lead? These guys are battling for just the 6th spot.
Man, I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is one crazy battle here to close out this race. 5 laps to go. Brody somehow caught the 47 as they had a huge gap just a lap prior. Able to get to him. Multiple crossovers here. Brody, I thought he was going to miss turn 20 completely, and somehow able to keep it on the surface in that corner prior in 19. I thought he was going to tag the 47, but these guys are still side by side. Brody able to pass the 47. This has been his strong suit up through here. And actually the 14, Lane Allen, does get around Ryan Hedrick as well, coming through turn 11. Now the 14 drives deep. The 47, I thought was going to drive a little deeper, but does not. Coming off through the long stretch and a little spaced out once again. Now Brody has done this twice. He's got past these two, and he loops it, has a problem. So now he has to keep that car underneath him for these final 5 laps, or else he's going to have to do that all over again.
Yeah, these guys are just having such a big battle here. As you see the 47, oh, the 98 almost runs right into the back of the 47. That could have been a huge checkup moment. The 14 could have got run into by the 47. The 47 could have gotten run into by the 98. Brody Hanna now wants to just get away from this mess. He knows he has 3 cars behind him that have an opportunity to try to get around him, but he's just doing a great job. And oh my God, we just talked about it, almost looping it around. Tried to put the power down off those rubble strips. Able to save it, though. Nice job for Brody Hanna.
He's getting that lead, and then he's going to try to cost himself again. He's got to watch it. He's got to be careful. Like, he knows he's got the faster car, and that's why he's able to drive between the 14 and the 47 twice now in the past 5 laps. Just has to maintain a good pace, keep that throttle easy, and I think he's got it. But the 47 trying everything he can, just can't get the corner exit. That's where the 14 of Lane Allen is struggling the most. And I think the 47 is kind of burned up his stuff. We'll have to see in the next 4 laps here. As you guys are side by, or nose to tail here, going through turn 1, a lot cleaner corner this time. And the 23 is going through his best part of the track now.
Yeah, the 23 just wants to try to get away from these 3 guys like I had talked about. But now he's heading into one of also his best parts. He was really making a lot of ground on the 47 there, and you saw the 47 kind of had to back off. That's what enabled the 14 of Stephen Allen to get by him, because the 23 kind of slammed the door heading to turn number 10 and enabled the 14 to get by. And now Stephen Allen is reeling in that number 23 machine. You got to think to yourself, Jeremy, that 23 is probably so shot out right now because of the amount of tire wear he's put on that number 23 Ford Mustang that he's probably got almost nothing left, and that's why Stephen Allen is catching him so fast right now, and he's almost right on the back bumper now as he heads down the hill and descends to turn number 12 here.
You guys are halfway through the straightaway here. The 14 is not letting the 23 go, as he's still only got about a couple car lengths separating them two. And then the 47 drives it in deep into turn 12. He's missed this corner quite a few times. Able to stick it, though, as there are 2 car length separation between the 14 and the 47 now. And the Brody Hanna, he's okay in this part. Turn 16, though, he's had a lot of trouble getting the power down on corner exit. We'll see this time what it looks like. The 23 plays it a lot safer, and there he goes. He gets a great launch. Able to clear the 14 now by about 5 car lengths or so. The 47 all of a sudden drives it really wide. I thought he had a really good corner, but nope, he went super fast, drove it wide, and now he's got to play some catch up here to get to the 14 if he wants to get back to 7th place.
Yeah, the 23 definitely took it a lot safer there heading out of turn 16. I mean, the last 2 to 3 laps, he's been practically looping it around there. I mean, even the one time he lost it, and he almost lost it right there out of turn 20. And this is now going to enable the 14 to catch a little bit of a draft weight going up the hill, and might open the door up for this 14 if he wants to make a dive bomb here into turn 1. It's definitely a lot better in the braking zone. He gets there. Not going to be enough, though. The 23 is able to put the power down a lot better out of the turn number 1 corner as they head into 2. At 14, though, he's so good in the braking zone compared to the 23, and as well as the 47, because those guys have been locking it up almost every single time they headed to a hard braking zone. So I wouldn't be surprised, Jeremy, if that number 14 of Stephen Allen is able to close the gap to the 23 and pass him into a braking zone, because he's been so strong heading into those hard braking zone corners.
He really has been. The 23 of Hannah has been doing an excellent job in turn one to really widening out that corner. I talked about like 15 or 20 laps ago why they just take that corner so sharply. The 15 or the 23 rather is finally really winded out, got a lot of corner exit speed. When the 14 just ramps the apex there right off the curbing. I don't think that costed him any penalties, but that looked like it was a little wicked moment there. These cars are so easy to get upset and spin out. 14 ramps it. I think at one point all four wheels were off the ground, lands it, and he's still driving, didn't spin it or anything. Just gave him a little extra time, which is what he's looking for as they go through 12. And 23 and the 14 get through cleanly there as they head off to the stadium corner.
Yeah, and the 47 and the 98 might have their own little battle here. The 47's been locking it up more than the 23 these last handful of laps, and this has enabled Chris Curtis, the number 98 machine, to close that gap in that number 98 Camaro, and he's been close to kind of getting to the inside and to the outside of that number 47, just really right now not having enough. He's about a second slower than these guys, but I mean, they're just a little bit faster. I think Chris probably needs to put on the jets a little bit more than these guys, because he definitely, for sure, compared to these three, what we've been watching, definitely doesn't have as much tire wear as these guys do. So I think that Chris probably has the opportunity to pass some of these guys, maybe pick up one or two spots. But the real question, though, is going to be who makes the next mistake, because now with 2 laps to go, you're just trying to finish this race. Your tires are worn out. You got a little bit of damage like the 23 here does. Widens out that corner, Jeremy. Enables the 14 to have a passing opportunity possibly into turn 1, but just because of the length heading into turn 1 between them, just not enough for the 14. So right now they're just trying to hope that they can get through these next couple laps clean and possibly have one of their other competitors make a mistake, so they're able to pick up one valuable spot here in these remaining 2 laps.
Yeah, we're about a lap and a half left before this thing is all done. Everybody else still really spaced out. Nicholas Moreau has a 14-second lead, so we'll catch up with him as this race does close out. But right now, this is the battle on the track. Other than the 47, the 98 at the top of the hill. Looked like they were side by side for a moment, at least in my peripheral, but they got a few car lengths separating them two. Gets through turn 11 just fine. But I think this 14 is going to be the one to keep our eyes out on. I don't think he's done with the 23 just yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, the 14 has been slowly reeling him in, like we've been talking about. I mean, one little mistake by that 23 car, and now Nicholas Moreau does take the white flag, so hopefully he doesn't have any issues. But, commentator's curse, knock on wood, hopefully nothing happens, a disconnect or anything for him. But the 23 is going to be coming into his weakest part of the racetrack here at a turn 16, and the 14's been able to close the braking zones. We'll have to see right here. The 23, he plays it safe yet again, able to learn from his mistakes, because like I said earlier in this race, every lap is a learning experience. You learn something every lap running these road courses compared you would to an oval, because you're absorbing so much information so quickly on those ovals, because you're turning laps at 30 to 40 seconds compared to here where it's 2.5 minutes long almost. You're learning something every corner, every time you hit the apex. You say, like, for example, Nicholas Moreau here, he's going to go across that rumble strip. All right, he knows, like, for example, maybe that rumble strip, he goes a little too low, he's going to get a lot looser. Every lap, every corner, every second of this racetrack possibly is a learning experience for these guys in a very, very good way with these 44 laps they were given here tonight to advance and progress their road course knowledge and craft. But Nicholas Moreau by far has had the best craft of anybody here tonight. We thought it was going to be Richie Coy, Jeremy, but unfortunately after Richie making his second mistake of the night enabled Nicholas Moreau to get around him, Richie tried to close it and just couldn't do it, and now he's fallen back by over 17 seconds. And Rocket Man here is looking to come home a winner in Austin, Texas tonight.
Yeah, you're seeing the 15 go through turn 16 for the final time. Has 4 more corners to take through, 17 and 18 now. And he's got 2 more left. No pressure, 17 seconds back, as you said. So the last 2 corners with ease. 19 and through 20 in the Martin Sports winning moments will go to this late race drive. Excellent speed here by Nicholas Moroz. He takes the checker flags at the Echo Park Automotive 125 here at the simulated circuit of the Americas. Job well done by that camp at Moreau Motorsports to put him back in victory lane, where he's been wanting to be for quite a few weeks now with those mistakes you mentioned earlier for the past couple. Gets a good string of laps together here tonight. Gets some luck with Talon not putting himself in the race, with the 19 causing himself some issues, and allow the 15 to open the doors and do an excellent job here as the 19 does cross second, 39 third, and so on and so forth. And we're gonna watch the 15 burn it down. He usually does. Well, no, I guess Richie does one who does the parade lap. So let's see what the oh, never mind. I guess 15 doesn't want to do anything for us.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because, I mean, he was pretty much lights out. He probably could have been still flying through this race course to get back to the start-finish line and do some burnouts. But, yeah, as everybody starts to finish, the top 10, all of them still haven't even crossed the line. Jeff Chandler still getting ready to cross that line right now, and he's working his way only right now into turn number 19. He's just about to hit 20, so it just goes to show you how spread out everybody was here. These remaining few laps, pretty much by about a minute and a half right now. Jeff Chandler is shown behind the leader, and he'll cross the line, top 10. A good showing for him tonight. He definitely needed that after a tough night. Ryan Chapman had some issues. He's going to come home just shy of a top 10, finishing 11th. And then Brian Bliss behind him. Quiet night for him. Had some moments in the race that he shined. He'll come home. Oh, we got a couple cars way off track. The 7, and it looks like, I believe, another driver right there. Going to be side by side. I think that was Ryan Dublé, right? Yeah, Ryan Dublé there. Sent him wide. Going to be interesting to see if we can get a replay on that. I don't know if the 7 locked it up. I don't know if the 37 made contact. But, man, those guys had one heck of a battle. It just goes to show you every position matters. The 7 looks like he just went wide. And the 37 just gets by him, man. That was heads-up driving there by the number 37 machine to avoid the number 7 of Wayne Grassi.
Yeah, solid effort there, and the 7 made a great pass effort to do it, but at the line, the 37 still beats the 7 just by 2/100ths of a second after 44 laps here. You're that close to each other, and that's going to bring everyone around the track. So we're going to go over the finishing results here. Unofficial, of course. No penalties have been handed out just yet. Nicholas Murho does bring it home P1. Richie Coy is going to finish second. Troy Torgerson third. Kyle Milliken fourth. Brody Hanna gets his top 5. Lane Allen in 6th. Ryan Hedrick finishes in 7th. Chris Curtis 8th. Jeff Chandler in the 31 finishes in P9. And to round out tonight's top 10, the 11 of Tony Solari.
Yeah, and then to round out your top 20, Ryan Chapman finishes 11th tonight. Brian Bliss 12th. Chad Lang 13th. Ryan Dublé 14th. Wayne Grassi there. Unfortunate for him to get passed by Brian there in the final corner on the last lap. He'll come home right on the edge of the top 15 in that 15th spot. Colton Gum, tough night for him after locking it up a lot, 16th. Joshua Johnson, another driver who's thankful to leave here at this weird state they call Texas. He finishes there in 17th. Josh Mayu, 18th. Alan Crowell, tough night for him, 19th. And Sherwood Williford, a driver who's been very strong the last few weeks. Unfortunate circumstances for him. Comes home just on the edge of a top 20 in that 20th position.
21st, James Torrey. 22nd place will be Steve Loomis. 23rd place will be Brandon Elder. Finishing in 24th, Timothy Stubblefield. 25th, Justin Diltz. 26th place belongs to Casey McMullen. 27th, Robert Meliken. 28th, Talon Smith. And 29th place, Mr. James Wallace. And that's going to complete the 29 car finishing order here, as we're going to go to full screen commercial break, gather up our top 3 and have a word with them. So I'll be back with you guys after a few messages. And welcome back, everyone, to the Martin Sports post-race show this time, as we're going to recap with the top three drivers of what the simulated Circuit of the Americas had to offer for our top three runners. And I think third place is available. Mr. Troy Torgerson in the 39 of Bruzy Chevrolet Camaro. Do you have a copy?
I do, Jeremy. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, we're doing good up here in the booth. Some low points in the race and some very exciting action for us toward the late end. But for you, you kept a clean race car, minus the dirt. I mean, you had no one really around you, so you just had a really solid third place car. Anything that you could have done different, maybe to crack second or first?
No, if I would have tried anything different, I would have ended up towards the end of the line there. So I'm happy with the way it ended up.
Yeah, Troy, dude, nice job finishing third tonight. Obviously, there was some confusion for us up here in the booth. Talon Smith was going to start up front. From what our knowledge was, had that penalty, I believe, from Atlanta last week, and then James Wallace as well. He didn't start. What was y'all's reaction when you saw that Talon wasn't going to be racing? All of a sudden, just parked it and decided not to race tonight.
To be honest with you, I didn't know he parked it until after the race here, talking with Richie. So that's tough to come up through the field here, especially if there's guys that don't want to give you any room and they're racing for position. But yeah, that's too bad that he had to go to the rear there. He's from what I understand, he's pretty good at these tracks.
Yeah, this past Wednesday, he just destroyed the field, just put a blister on it. Then in practice, he had almost a 2-second advantage. So, I mean, I'm sure some of those guys saw him park and they're like, whew, thankfully I have a chance now to do something a little bit better than what it was looking like prior. But Troy, congratulations on your third place finish here at Circuit of the Americas. Awesome job keeping that thing underneath you all race long. The mental game was strong and you're able to make it happen. So go ahead and the floor is yours. Celebrate and let us know who you want to thank here on Nerd TV.
Hey, I need to thank Jeff Chandler Racing. He's pretty good, man. He's an awesome friend. We raced here a couple of years ago, and now he decided to come back this year. Got to thank Abruzzi Raceware for being on the car. Also, Raven Graphics, Doyle Lawrence over there put the paint on it and stuff. So yeah, I'm just tickled to death to get out of here with the way it ended up tonight, man. I got to thank Brody for the league. He's doing a great job. And also you guys, I appreciate the broadcast. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome. Appreciate all those kind words, and go ahead and celebrate with your teammate Jeff there on an awesome third place finish tonight.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too. That was Troy Torgerson there, third place finisher. Now it's time to bring in Mr. Richie Coy, who was very familiar with the Nerd TV booth. Mr. Richie, got a copy?
What's up, nerds?
Hey, man, congratulations on second place. I know that's not where you wanted to finish. You had the car to win for a good chunk of it, but some mistakes by yourself cost you, I do believe. Walk us through that second half of the race and what led to those mistakes.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. I'm trying not to go down that slope of self-doubt and two mistakes like that in a race. 6 years in the cup like this, and I should be replaced. No, I mean it's racing. I'm trying to stay out in front of Nick, who I know is super fast, and Troy was fast, and cold tires got me twice. And I did what I could to come back. I actually won stage, which was great for me to get some points. And then the second half of the race, Nick, found fifth gear and took off, and my car got a little bit slower. So it is what it is. I'll take my second and move away.
Yeah, but you had some awesome lap times too, though. So I mean, at points you were like, especially that first run, especially you went back to 7 seconds, and then you caught him, and you were in the race lead all of a sudden without a caution break, of course. So the speed was definitely there from your machine.
Yeah, I for whatever reason though, after the pit stop, the car wasn't as stable as it was in the beginning of the race. I don't know if it was the rubber on the track or I think the car actually started to bottom out a little bit because there was a lot more rubber on the track, and it just was making the car very unstable to get consistently fast lap times.
Yeah, Richie, man, you had a really good run all night. Unfortunately, like Jeremy said, just some mistakes on your end. But right there towards the end, I was talking to Jeremy up here in the booth, and we were sitting here thinking to ourselves under commercial breaks too. I was like, man, I think Richie's gonna catch him. I think Richie's gonna catch him. Nick really hasn't been good on the long runs, and then Nick just pulled away. Man, is there anything differently that happened? Maybe whether it be feeling of the car, maybe you're just your reaction time, anything in particular that made you really not gain the ground that we saw you gain earlier on in the race, later on in the run there compared to Nick? Because he just pulled away, man.
No, just Nick. Just like I said, he found a fifth gear after the pit stops, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, he ran. I think he ran his fastest lap with like 10 laps to go or something like that, and he was on rails. My car got a little bit. Like I said, I think I was bottoming off the racetrack a lot, and it was kind of just making the car unstable in certain corners, and I couldn't get the runs that I was getting in the first half. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I got second. I'm still in the points lead. Won a stage tonight, so I got a playoff point there. I mean, I'm walking away with COTA with a second. How am I going to get mad?
Yeah, that's definitely Victor. That good solid point. You got the points lead by I think 13 points coming into this thing, coming in second place tonight. It's going to only improve that. So that alone, congratulations on doing so. But floor is yours. Who would you like to thank watching their TV before we let you go tonight?
As always, the team. We really did quite a bit of practice for this tonight, trying to find a setup. You know, we've been practicing basically all for the last week, trying to get fine tune it, and I think we had a great piece. I don't think we unfortunately had enough there at the end, but it was a great piece. So thanks to the team for that. Thanks to the league for all they do. We got short track series starting on Saturday with the late model stock cars. FTSR's final is going into short track racing. We're going to have a late model stock tour there, so a little plug for that. And thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Can't wait to watch it back. And thanks for everybody watching it. Thanks. Hi to Tony's mom and dad. And yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Well, congratulations once again on second place. Really strong run overall. So go and take it and extend that point lead, and we'll catch you on Monday.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. You too. And that was the driver of the DeWalt Ford Mustang there, 19 Richie Coy. Now it's time to bring in Mr. Nick Moreau. Mr. Nick, congratulations and welcome to Victory Lane.
Thank you. Finally, I'm here.
Yeah, a couple of bad weeks, and then you finally found your groove here at Circuit of the Americas, and just awesome job, especially the second half of the race. Talon Smith didn't start, and I'm sure that gave you a little bit of sigh of relief, and then little mistakes by the 19 opened the door for you. Then you just took off. You ran couple of your fastest laps of the night, I think at a 2:12 flat within 10 laps to go. So what was the difference between the pit stops?
No secret. I just learned the track more. So honestly, I was not supposed to be here tonight, so I didn't practice. I just took my road course setup, and I know the track obviously, but I just didn't practice for that race tonight. And I got home very late tonight, and I told my wife, "Okay, I think I'm good to race," and I just connected just before the qualify, and I make my first lap in my quali, and I was like, okay, I may, my goal is like top 5 maybe, um, and I just learned the track following Richie, as I told him. When I passed him because he spun out, I just let him by to be sure where to where to attack the curbs at the right place and everything. And after the pit, I was much more comfortable for sure. So yeah, I just didn't spin, so it gave a chance.
Well, Nick, you did a really good job tonight, man. You didn't just come home top 5, man. You won. You said you were expecting a top 5, and you came home a winner tonight. Obviously, you and Richie were battling a lot, and I kept saying it. And I was just asking Richie there. Later on in that first half of the race, you were kind of falling off a little bit, but then you kept gaining back, and then you kept falling off a little bit, and then later on in that second half, Richie started to catch you after the tires started to settle in, and I was saying to Jeremy, I was like, man, Nick's just running really, really hard right now. I see him, the tail end of the car is just sliding out a lot. And then I noticed you really changed your line a little bit. I noticed you weren't really as aggressive. Do you think that really led to you pulling away from Richie so much there at the end?
Well, yeah, I would say that maybe I was much focused on my driving, and I was like, instead of just thinking about the top five, I was like, okay, I can win. So now the mindset is different for now. So I've been able to just focus myself and, you know, take the maximum of the car. So attack by attacking the curves at the right place, because I was not sure about the track limit, by the way. So yeah, I just lap after laps, I was better and better.
Oh, he did a hell of a job there, especially through the second part of the race to bring home the checker flags this evening. The floor is finally yours here in the victory lane, man. Go ahead and shout out whoever he wants to that's watching their TV tonight.
I would say thank to our sponsor Transit. Very thanks to them and friends watching me, because I text them and okay, I'm gonna race tonight, and yeah. So and thanks for you guys. Thanks for the admin for the leagues, and thanks for all lap car, because as said, I cannot say thanks every time I can pass them, but very clean and just as smart, So you thanks for them.
Yeah, a lot of space given out to all the leaders too. So yeah, shout out to them as well. But yeah, thanks for all the kind words, man. Congratulations once again, and we will catch you here next Monday.
Hope so. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. And that was the 15 driver Nicholas Moreau bringing home the checker flag, I think for the first time this season. So shout out to Moreau Motorsports on getting the dub. And he joins his teammate Fred, his brother Fred, who's got 2 of those I think this year. So Moreau Motorsports picking up 3 of the 6 checker flags so far this season.
Yeah, man, Nick was very, very fast earlier on in this race. I mean, Troy and Richie, both of them were really, really strong, but Nicholas was just able to kind of get the larger end of the stick there at the end of the race. Obviously, Richie having his own problems. Nicholas also, mind the fact too, he didn't just have Richie have those mistakes, and it's not like Nick got this win kind of handed to him. But I mean, Richie kind of wasn't able to pull away from Nick as much in the first half and even the second half of this race before Nick was able to take the lead away from Richie on those fresh and cold tires. So Nick was really able to put his race together and did a very good job. And him and his brother Fred are going to be ones to reckon with for the remainder of the year. They've been so strong, along with Richie as well. I mean, there was a lot of guys here in this top 10 tonight who we really hadn't seen a lot the last couple races. So it's good to see some new faces inside the top 10. We talk about Jeff Chandler coming home top 10. He needed that string of bad luck recently. Kyle Milliken, very strong in Atlanta last week, comes home 4th. And some other drivers, and last year's truck winner here, Stephen Allen. So overall, very clean race, interesting to see. And Nicholas Moreau did one hell of a job wheeling that thing here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely sure did, and brought home the W for the first time for himself this year, and more to come his way. I'm sure he's thankful he was able to make the race tonight on that last ditch effort to get into the session. But we're going to close out the broadcast here for Nerd TV. Going to shout out our sponsors one last time. But first, Full Throttle Sim Racing. Thank you for letting us do this with you guys every Monday and Wednesday nights. This league has been doing it for 17 years. So if you want to be a part of the action with us broadcasting, or the other 2 series, or the new one on Saturday, the late model stock tour, join up on FTSR.net. Mach-1 Performance, the Monday Night Cup Series sponsor. It's a fabrication shop that's produced champions from the NASA, SCCA, and more. So if you're looking to get your car repaired by the best in the business, visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points is your all-inclusive league points management system that allows you to completely track your league stats with one simple upload. If you're interested, go ahead and visit simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See the whole apparel lineup at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag. Get notifications of fractions of a second faster without ever leaving your focus off the racing action. Visit them at iRacingIFlag.com for full product line. The Butt Kicker, ultimate feel from a race car with the haptic response system by the Butt Kicker. So you're going to head over to thebuttkicker.com to see the full product lineup of their haptic products for your sim rig. Team Watson Racing Setups. Get quality professional built setups for all your asphalt oval needs. Visit teamwatsonracing.com for pricing and packages. And lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee. Premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems Coffee, and that's at roastedgems.com. All right, Jason, it was a fun night with you tonight. We will not be here this Wednesday. We told you on last Wednesday that Dustin's son has a surgery. Pretty intensive surgery here. So hopefully everything goes well. Best wishes to our producer Dustin as they go through that recovery after the Wednesday surgery. And we'll be back with you guys this coming Monday as we're going to catch the Cup action at Richmond. So until then, you guys stay safe and to get your nerd on.